want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. We don't feel that in 1964, living in a country that is supposedly based upon freedom and supposedly the leader of the free world, we don't think that we should have to sit around and wait for
all of your assets, you have to protect it. Just set your trust up, come get your status corrected. You know we moving more than mountains. Fuck your school, fuck your voting system, fuck your water fountains. Melanin, I know you heard of me. You can never murder me. I want that gold you owe me now and gold from 1933. I want y'all to stand on all the treaties that you sold to me. Cause we was already here, y'all came on a boat to me. And know this God-given land, we all holding fees. Simple, absolute gratitude, your majesty. I am not in my straw man, you not controlling me. Certified, signed, sealed, stamped by the notary. Don't try to lie to my face like you ain't just a colonist who tricked us with contracts, but you fail to acknowledge it. In history books of fertilizer, one big pile of shit. Acting like you freed us from slavery, but ain't abolished it. The plantation just got renovated. Driver's license and passports are the new slave papers. How they foreclosing on the ones they gave acres. We allowed them entry, even trusted them as neighbors. They took everything from us and made us ask for favors, and posed as the only helping hand that's there to save us. Boycott, don't try to keep up with the fad, cause the money that we save, the properties that we rehab. Tears don't fall from my eyes, cause they see our what, but they don't see our why. You was born in June, but I only seen July. Influenced by bad spirits like a DUI. You ain't do no estate planning, but you think you fly. Now we gon' need 3 fish fries to see you die. We the revolt, boy, don't play with me. The time is now, this royalty over slavery.
What's up, people? We're going to get this going. We're going to start off, make people to come through. It was one of them days, so let's just start gathering through some of this information. The one thing that, we want to focus on is, how we will be able to, kind of work together and get some of this stuff going. So under the circumstances, let me get all this stuff lined up. No, we don't want that. Yeah, man, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well on this great Tuesday. We're going to make all this stuff happen perfectly. Get everything going. Indeed, indeed, indeed. I'm just going to run it down the line. I think we got everything pretty much lined up for the most part. And this is just some opening good words. And let's get this going. Sliding through. Let me come off the camera.
Fratellanza, brotherhood, not the kind you find at parties, the kind you forge in fire. Let me tell you what this means. Perfect brotherhood was a code, not spoken, lived. A brother never asks what you need, he sees it and provides. A brother never questions your call at 3 a.m. He just shows up. A brother never lets you face your enemies alone, even when you're wrong. But also, a brother tells you the truth when it destroys you. A brother stops you when you're about to ruin yourself. A brother saves you from yourself, even if you hate him for it. You want perfect brotherhood? It's this: the man who suffers for you when you can't suffer for yourself. The man who stays in your corner even when the whole world walks out. Not because he has to, because he chose you. And in brotherhood, choice is stronger than blood. Today, men call everyone brother, hundreds of brothers, zero brotherhood. They confuse proximity with loyalty. A brother isn't someone you've known for 20 years. A brother is someone who'd give 20 years for you. If you find one man who would, take a bullet for you, take the blame for you, take your children in if you died, you don't have a friend. You have a brother. And that's richer than all the gold in the world. In the old country.
Yeah. You hear a lot of this brother stuff, huh?
Got jumped.
Well,
We did.
Well, let me just say this.
Definitely hijacked.
And again, well, let me, before you say
Well, go ahead.
we did have government established before they came here. The first president was not George Washington. That was,
They had like 6 presidents before.
Yeah, we had way more.
I know his name, something Johnson or Jackson.
What's the name?
Generation. Andrew?
No.
No, I know his name when I hear it. I'm sorry, I can't think.
I can't think of his
We
name
had
either.
6 or 7 presidents. Hanson, something Hanson, John
Hanson.
John Hanson was allegedly first president of America, and he's the one who gave George Washington his elected him later down the line.
Matter of fact, they say his picture's on the back of the $2 bill.
Yeah, he's the black guy that's on the back of the $2 bill.
That's why they never put the $2 bill in the currency like that, because they didn't want you to see. If you look hard enough, you'll be in there.
He likely the one who drafted it.
Yeah.
First place.
He was right there when they signed the Constitution.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying he likely the one who drafted it for real.
Probably so.
Yeah, it was actually a few people. And if you notice, John Hancock was on there. People say put your John Hancock on something. Yeah, John Hancock was one of them people too as well.
Of the oil companies. Our good old Constitution came into place, and in 1911, the Supreme Court found Rockefeller in violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act and split Standard Oil into 34 independent companies. So they said, you can't have the monopoly on this, you're done. You think that changed who he was? No. He promised to bankrupt America. At that very same time, they were learning how to turn petrochemicals, exactly what he had at his fingertips with the oil, into pharmaceuticals. Now, John D. Rockefeller's biggest threat was natural health. So what does he do? Being the businessman he is, he donates money to the medical schools because he wants to control. And what do you do when you want to control someone? You give him money. And then he hired a guy by the name of Flexner to study the school's curriculum, to figure out what they were teaching everybody, and to persuade the government to establish allopathic medicine, which used the unnatural substances to treat diseases. This is how Western medicine was founded.
Now let's start that over again because we missed a couple parts.
So in 1872, Rockefeller bought up, shut down, or bankrupt 90% of the oil companies.
Now, 1872, whose oil companies were they? And did he actually look like that? That's another question. That instant right there. The only thing she is not addressing who he was actually doing that with, and how was he able to do that by himself? See, this is when they give all these sideways narratives as if one man was just a giant. He just took over 97%. Did I hear that correctly?
Good old Constitution came into place, and in 1911, the Supreme Court found Rockefeller in violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act and split Standard Oil into 34 independent companies. So they said, you can't have the monopoly on this, you're done. You think that changed who he was? No. He promised to bankrupt America. At that very same time,
So why was he so hell bent on bankrupting America? Now, she didn't say the United States. She said America. See, these type of words will just fly over somebody's head that she's talking about the United States of America. She's not talking about the United States of America. Remember, prior to the Civil War, the indigenous people controlled all the resources, all the commodities, everything that was up under our feet. The indigenous people controlled all of it because it was on their land. So how did he, Rockefeller, by himself do this?
they were learning how to turn petrochemicals, exactly what he had at his fingertips with the oil, into pharmaceuticals. Now, John D. Rockefeller's biggest threat was natural health. So what does he do? Being the businessman he is, he donates money to the medical schools because he wants to control. And what do you do when you want to control someone? You give them money. And then he hired a guy by the name of Flexner to...
Now, if you're looking at during those times right there, and then you look at what we deal with today, and in regards to the type of foods, or all the different, not just the foods, but all the different remedies and things like that. You have the ski experiment. You have the influenza. You had the CVID. You know, the CV thing that goes way back to as well. That they knew that their own people, now this is me kind of speculating, but their own people actually had. You remember the yellow fever and the blankets and all that type of stuff? Like, they were coming over here with that. So they was able to say, let's try to harness this, and let's try to see if we can incorporate this into our enemies' lifestyle, if I may. So petroleum, right? Petroleum jelly, you know, Vaseline, all those different type of things. That's how they was working all this stuff out. But what we got to focus on is, who were they targeting? They were targeting somebody, but who was they using as guinea pigs? Wasn't us at first. They was using their own people, extracting certain type of extracting blood in order to make these mixes and then utilize it for their advantage, or I would say kind of weaponize these things. It's kind of like biological warfare. So
study the school's curriculum to figure out what they were teaching everybody, and to persuade the government to establish allopathic medicine, which used the unnatural substances to treat diseases. This is how Western medicine was founded.
Okay, so this is how Western medicine was founded. But the main important thing that she says is that his whole premise was destroying America, bankrupting America. Very important. This is very important. See, I'm going to take these things and I'm going to go and read between the lines and be able to break it down so that way you guys can see it's just not just a surface thing that he was doing against the United States. This was something they were doing to bankrupt America. And in order for them to bankrupt America, they had to do a lot of different things in order to usurp us out of that position. And you see, this is 18, what? 18.
So in 1872,
1872.
Rockefeller bought up, shut down, or bankrupt 90% of the oil
Bought up, shut down, or bankrupt 90%.
companies. Our good old...
How realistic is that for one person to do that? One man did that by himself. You got to think about this. Remember, repair, restore. Okay. Let's go here. Let's go here. Stop screen. We'll take this one by one. All right.
Kiev, the Black Russian princess. Let's talk about it.
This is Olga of Kiev, and her husband was just unalive, and now she wants revenge. But before we get into that, I have to show you that she was actually black. This is my first source, the Annunciation Cathedral of the Moscow Kremlin. This church, which is standing to this day, is located in Russia. Now let's go into the church. Look at these images of these black men and women on these walls. Now let's go to the next room. Look at Jesus Christ in the center with all the 12 apostles.
I'm just pausing so you can take a look. Just pausing so you can take a look.
Those all black. Now look at Vladimir and Olga. Vladimir is Olga's grandson. Look how black his face is. Now look at Olga. The face paint on her face is chipped off, but look at her hands. It's the same color as Vladimir because Olga was black. Now look at this image. This is a different church. They painted her black as well. Now let's get back to the story. It was the year 945, and Prince Igor ruled over Kiev and Rus. But to the west of him was a tribe called the Drevians. And the Drevians hated Igor and his people, but they feared his father. And after his father passed away, the Drevians saw this opportunity to stop paying tribute. And after 30 years, Igor came to confront the Drevians, which they didn't like. So they did what any reasonable tribe would do, and they unalived him. After unaliving Igor, the prince of the Drevians, Prince Mao, wanted to combine kingdoms with Olga, if you know what I mean. But Olga, she wasn't going. She loved her husband, and she also wanted to protect her son because he was the rightful heir to the throne. If Prince Mao became the king, he would end up unaliving her son. And Olga, she wasn't going for that. So the prince sent men on a canoe bearing gifts, and Olga had her army pick up their canoe and throw them in a pit and bury them alive. And then she sent her own men to the king, and she told them to relay the message that he needs to send some of his best men to her. Confused, the king agreed. And once those men arrived to Kiev, she locked them in a bathhouse and set it on fire. She sent more of her men to the king, and they told the king that their men never showed and that she wanted him to come down there himself and celebrate her deceased husband. So the king brought him and his army, and they all got drunk. And Olga and her army unalived everybody, including the king. And Olga then turned and went to the Drevian city.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Like that. I like that. I'm going to do them one by one because I got to move the screens around and da-da-da-da-da.
Is called The Trail of Tears. So this is another book I got. It's called The Trail of Tears. The Rise.
You got that? Take a snapshot.
Rise and Fall of the Cherokee Nation by John L. All right. Trail of Tears. Trail of Tears. Now watch this. We're gonna go inside this book and we're gonna see what it says. This is the very first page of the first chapter of the book. Very first paragraph. Let's see what it says. Investigations were made in the 17th and 18th centuries to determine whether the American Indians were the lost tribes of Judah. And it was pretty well proved both yes and no. Hold up, wait a minute. So you telling me, how long is a century? 100 years? For 200 years, the white man gathered information to prove to themselves that this is exactly where the 12 tribes are, and that the Native American Indians are of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's 200 years of proof that you are the Israelites. 200 years of proof. So this is another book I got. It's called The Trail of Tears.
Now this is that book from John L. You also got the book from James Adair. This is one of the main reasons that a lot of them came over here. It's one of the main reasons why people like Rockefeller were trying to destroy it. And when you tie it all together, we just put Israelites, 12 tribes, the Hebrews, all in quotes, right? We put brackets around them. What you focus on is the way of life. That everything that you see in these books, they're describing their ways because to them it was a figment of their imagination, because all they did was hear stories about them. And they saw remnants of them through the stories from the people, or what you would call the 10 tribes that were dispersed everywhere. Because if you go by the story, Judah never moved. They always stayed where they were at. So they finally got an opportunity to visit, because they always talk about this paradise, right? This land of paradise, this land of milk and honey, this garden, something that was kind of protected. And they really couldn't, it was something that they really couldn't even see visually. They only heard about, and they really couldn't come over there. So it's very interesting that when you actually hear a lot of the people that talked about it back in the 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, 10s, in the 1800s and the 1700s, because James Adair, his book was 1775. You had the other books like this that was American Antiquities. It was 1830s. All this stuff was like known, but now all of a sudden it's not known. Now it's a mystery. It's a low-key mystery where now we're trying to figure out who's who and what's what. Very intentional, but nevertheless. Peace to you all that's listening, that's in. All those that might be listening later.
You are looking at the real slaves. This is a true story. Let it be known worldwide.
1800s to early 1900s became a major immigrant gateway. Thousands of Europeans entered here, not Ellis Island, but according to port records, many of them walked out carrying indigenous surnames that didn't belong to them. Receipt number 1. Immigration logs from Galveston show entire families arriving with no prior connection to the Americas, yet within a generation, their descendants appear in censuses as Indian under the same tribal surnames once held by melanated indigenous families. Receipt number 2. Land patent transfers in Texas reveal parcels once tied to indigenous land allotments being signed over to new Indian allottees, often matching those same immigrant names. Receipt number 3. Court disputes from the early 1900s document indigenous families challenging these name swaps, claiming their legal identity and land rights were stolen through fraudulent re-registration. This wasn't random paperwork confusion. It was a coordinated way to replace the people while keeping the land under native ownership on paper. By the time the story reached the history books, the faces had changed, but the names stayed. So today, when you see certain tribes, you're not looking at the descendants of the original people. You're looking at the results of an identity swap that started right here in Galveston. Hit that plus button so you can follow the case.
Galveston, Texas, right? Right, Draco, you in Texas. We got a lot of people that from Galveston. They talk real big about Galveston. And this is where the mixture comes through. Like to have a nice conversation with some of them brothers and sisters that from Texas. We kind of clarify this. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's interesting. Now we're gonna get into some other stuff. What happened?
Tax as smart because he knows the truth about the U.S. income tax system.
As we all know, that our U.S. tax system is a voluntary tax system, and we depend on people willing every year to sit down, fill out that form, and pay their appropriate amount of taxes.
What you're about to hear comes directly from inside the system. A former IRS acting commissioner and a sitting member of Congress. Listen closely as they explain something most Americans were never taught in school. That participation in the federal income tax system is based on voluntary compliance. This is their conversation, not an opinion.
We have to maintain the confidence in the system because it's a voluntary system of payment of our taxes.
Agreed.
We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to clean up and clear out so we can go back to the business of making sure that people have to maintain the
compliance. This is their conversation, not an opinion.
We have to maintain the confidence in the system because it's a voluntary system of payment of our taxes.
Agreed.
We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to clean up and clear out so we can go back to the business of making sure that people respect the fact that we have a voluntary system of paying our taxes.
What? Okay. We just running it down. Repair and restore. Just gonna run it down. Hey. Now, Xavier Becerra, right? You know, he was the think he was the Attorney General. I think he was also the DA. Can't remember this guy. I think he was the Attorney General. But yeah, we're going to run it back just a little bit because I coughed.
In the federal income tax system is based.
There you go. So you got Title 26, Code of Federal Regulations, subsection 601 and 602A. Right? So if we blow it up, it says tax forms and instructions, tax return forms and instructions. Internal Revenue Service develops forms and instructions that explain the requirements. The service distributes the forms and instructions to help taxpayers comply with the law. The tax system is based on voluntary compliance. Marinate. The tax system is based on voluntary compliance, and the taxpayers complete and return the forms with payment of any tax owed. All righty. Come back down and let's continue.
Based on voluntary compliance. This is their conversation, not an opinion.
We have to maintain the confidence in the system because it's a voluntary system.
Got to listen to it. Now, you know, when you're listening to me, I'm going to dissect every word that they say, right? Line by line. So I'm going to be redundant on it.
In the system because it's a voluntary system.
This is their conversation, not an opinion.
We have to maintain the confidence in the system because it's a voluntary.
He said we. What is he at this time? Okay, at this time he's a Democrat representative. I don't know what year this is. But yeah.
Voluntary system of payment of our taxes.
Agreed.
We need to get to the bottom of this.
Agreed. They agree that it's voluntary.
We need to clean up and clear out so we can go back to the business of making sure that people respect the fact that we have a voluntary system of paying our taxes.
Now, what does he mean by the people need to respect that we have a voluntary system? Now, let me put it this way, because whoever posted this got to misunderstand.
We need to get.
So when he's talking about we need to get to the bottom of this, right?
In the system, because it's a voluntary system.
Not an opinion.
We have.
Now, just know that it's already saying in the code that this is voluntary. So think of him saying that this system needs to be expressed and given full disclosure that it's voluntary. Not the fact that he's saying that this needs to change in the business so that way, you know, we can continue to try to make people, coerce people into paying taxes and comply. Is actually the people or the representatives doing the proper thing and getting the information out to the people and giving full disclosure in the public that this is voluntary. Think about it like that.
We have to maintain the confidence in the system because it's a voluntary system of payment of our taxes.
Agreed.
So it's a voluntary system of paying our taxes. What that means is what he's saying is that they're passing on the tax to the people who are exempt from any type of levy or taxation. So the people are to be taxed, as I showed in the previous presentations that I've done. Who is a person, who is an employee, who are the ones that are taxable? Now, based on what we showed and based on what he's saying, is them. It is the reps, these people, for the people and by the people. They need to make sure that the tax that is to be paid is done in order to return whatever that was paid out into the system, return back to the principal. You see, because everything that goes on in the public is a tax based on their wording, based on the rules and the codes of everything, based on the executive orders that was done during the time of what I showed yesterday, HJR 192, and the New Deal and the gold suspension, that there is no way constitutionally to pay a debt because it was suspended. So if per se, right, I'm not an expert, this is just my own common sense. Per se, if you putting stuff out there and you know it's legal tender of some things based on what I read in HJR 192, based on the executive order, based on 18 USC subsection 8, based on Title 12, based on consumer law, based on all the different things that you have, the return, the tax return. And I want you to remember that because we're going to talk about it. The tax return that is submitted to the Treasury and then accounted by the accounting branch, which is the Internal Revenue Service, is to be ledgered, researched, and to be picked up from these vendors for them to pay the tax to be returned back to you. That's why they call it a tax return.
We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to clean up and clear out so we can go back to the business of making sure that people respect the fact that we have a voluntary system of paying our taxes.
The people need to respect that we have a voluntary system. I mean, what does that mean? That's so ambiguous what it means. That could mean so many different things, but the people need to respect that we got a voluntary system of taxation. So if I volunteer to do something, it's a gift. Remember, I was showing in the other ones. See, we tying all this stuff together. You're going to hear it so many different ways, but I'm tying to the foundation of what is voluntary. It's a gift. You're volunteering to participate in the system called the United States of America, the United States, or whatever, but the United States government. So as you volunteer to get that, what's up, Dottie? But if you volunteer to do that, then there must be something else, but must be returned back to you. Or it needs to be ledgered of that, and you shouldn't have to be taxed under those circumstances. Based on what I'm hearing, common sense.
You've just heard one side of the conversation. Now let's hear from someone who ran the agency responsible for administering the tax system.
It's damaging to the morale of those people. And it's probably ultimately damaging to the sense of voluntary compliance, which underlies our entire tax system. But remember that the amount of money we take in is mostly voluntary, right? Fortunately, 83% voluntary compliance rate. Most of it comes from our tax system.
System.
It's damaging to the morale of those people. And it's probably ultimately damaging to the sense of voluntary compliance, which underlies our entire tax system. But remember that the amount of money we take in is mostly voluntary, right? Fortunately. 83% voluntary compliance rate. Most of it comes in voluntarily.
Have you ever wanted to understand the U.S. tax system for yourself by looking at the facts, the sources, and the structure behind it? Federal regulations describe the system as voluntary compliance. If you'd like to review the information for yourself, we invite you to join our
the government's power over this trust. This straight up nuked the government's power over this trust. The Supreme Court, Elliott versus Freeman, 1911, straight up ruled that the trust isn't a corporation, it's not a partnership, and it's not under legislative control. The Supreme Court held that the trust is based under the realm of equity. It's based on common law and is not subject to, and I repeat, not subject to legislative restrictions as are corporations and other organizations that are created with legislative authority. What does that mean? No statutes, no regulators, no handcuffs, just pure private lawsuit-proof power. Now, wouldn't you rather have something like that to run your business through or to hold your assets in, than an LLC or a corporation, which are corporate slaves? I think you would. I don't know why you wouldn't, but here's what I want you to do. Save this video. It's very important. Share it to whoever you think could use it.
Hold on.
It is not.
See, this is
the Supreme Court.
This is how they, hold on, make sure I'm off mute. All right, I'm off mute. All right, this is how they actually misunderstand this trust situation here. These people actually think it's for them. Now, in 1933, when the gold standard was suspended, and then prior to that, I showed you what Rockefeller did. Supposedly by himself, bankrupted, bought, or took 90% of the oil companies in America. He also stated that after they hit him with the Aton-Sherman Sherman Act, meaning you can't create a monopoly, he still tried to figure out a way where he can bankrupt and destroy America. So even up to this point, right now it was 1871, 1872. I think it was 1871, 1872 where he did that. Now we know just 5 years prior, and really it was more like 4 years, 1968, is when some of these treaties were restructured under different reasons, but we know that these treaties were restructured based on the Union or the United States government or the federal government was expanding. So let's listen to this again.
Straight up nuked the government's power over this trust. The Supreme Court, Elliott versus Freeman, 1911.
Okay. Elliott Freeman. I'm getting my my cord. Elliott Freeman. What trust are they talking about here? People that were coming over here during that time came over here to work, to labor. They didn't come over here with money. They didn't come over here with any interest. They didn't own anything. So what trust are they talking about? How was the trust set up? At best, they were just they were indentures. They were employees. They came over, became employees, got set up in these ghettos. You know, they set up these little spots for them to, you know, be in their areas where they worked on these plantations, in these colonies, at these ports, and that's it. Where's the trust at for them? Now, remember, this is 1911. So if the government has no control over the trust, then that means that they have no control over the people that created the trust. That means that they're nothing but trustees of the people.
Straight up ruled that the trust isn't a corporation, it's not a partnership, and it's not under legislative control.
Now, remember executive order, right? Roosevelt's executive order and HJR 192. We didn't go over the executive order yesterday, but we did talk about HJR 192. We also didn't go into the Federal Reserve Act. We seen it was there though. So if there's a trust that's set up, it's not a partnership, not a corporation, and you actually, and I'm gonna bring up HJR 192 again. We're gonna talk about also the executive order when they suspended the gold. We're gonna talk about that too. And I'm gonna show you who it dealt with.
The Supreme Court held that the trust is based under the realm of equity. It's based on common law and is not subject to, and I repeat, not subject to legislative restrictions as are.
Okay. Now you see why I presented the way I presented in the debate. And why I'm going to keep repeating myself that we were never subject to, as it just said, subject to. Because as he's about to say, as are corporations, partnerships, LLCs, individuals under that nature are subject to. But also when I showed that the guy that spoke in that quick little clip that I showed, that even 100 years prior to 2025, that the Indians were not subject to the United States government, and the Supreme Court said that. So now if you're taking what he's saying, don't say, oh, where that white man? No. Look at him telling you the information for you.
Corporations and other organizations that are created with legislative authority. What does that mean?
What does that mean? No statutes. No statutes. And what else is he going to say after that?
No statutes, no regulators, no handcuffs, just pure, private, lawsuit-proof power.
See, but at the end of the day, if I was to sit and have a conversation with him after this, and I would tell him, I say, you think that applies to you? Can you prove land ownership here? I mean, land ownership. I mean, like Aboriginal title, Indian title. Do you have that? Do you have any land that was actually conveyed to you under colorable title in fee simple from indigenous nations or somebody that had control over the land? If you do, then obviously then you will be able to show a land patent. You would actually show a will and testament. You don't necessarily have to have a trust because it's already been set up. But if you had another trust, then you would have that too as well. Because people don't understand. All you really need is a will. You don't need no trust. It's not necessary. As long as you got a will and you got free and clear land, right? All debts cleared, all assets secured and everything. And your last will and testament is like the law of God. So
now, wouldn't you rather have something like that to run your business through or to hold your assets in, than an LLC or a corporation, which are corporate slaves? I think you would. I don't know why you wouldn't, but here's what I want you to do. Save this video. It's very important. Share it to whoever you think could use it.
we got one last one, and then let's get into it. All right, we're going to go long. One last one. We're going to get into it. I had something I was going to do. It seems like I don't think I am. I think we might have to be going to this.
Once again, just to be clear, this book comes from 1837. Well, it was produced in 1835. Look at that beautiful symbol right there. Okay. American Antiquities and Discoveries in the West. A further account of the convolution of the globe with the removal of islands. The innumerable islands scattered all over the Pacific Ocean, populous with men more than intimates a period ever since the flood, when all the different continents of the globe were united together and the sea so disposed of that they did not break this harmony so well calculated to facilitate the migration of men and animals. And this is where it gets good. Several tribes of the present Southern Indians. Now, I want you to notice when we bring this up that in the other chapter, they were telling you that the people that are now considered Indians are not the same Indians that were here before. As they now are called, right? Several tribes of the present Southern Indians, as they now are called, have traditions that they came from the East or through the Atlantic Ocean. Rufinsky says it is important to distinguish the American nations of Eastern origin from those of Northern. The latter, he says, were invaders from Tartary and were as different in their manners as were the Romans and the Vandals. See, very next chapter, evidence of an ancient population in America different from that of the Indians. Okay. Where it says that the race of Indians afforded in discovery of the forts, mounds, tumuli, and the other continents as related by Western travelers in the research of the Antiquarian Society at the Cincinnati. But before we proceed to an account of the traits of this kind of population more than already given, we will remark that wherever plats of ground struck out into the circles, squares, or ovals are found, we are at once referred to an era when people and nation existed in this country more civilized, refined, and given to architectural, agricultural pursuits than are in the Indians. The southern nations among whom this tradition is found are the Natchez, the Appalachians, the Talascas, the Mayans, the Maquis, Maicas, and Haitians. Hold on, because I gotta make sure that you just caught that fucking gem that just dropped there. Listen. Do you realize that they just told you that the Mexicans, the Mayans, the Appalachians, do you realize that they're telling you that these people are the Mongolians? But those of the Algonquin stock point to a northwest origin, which is the way from the northern regions of Asia. So realize that what they're telling you is that the Algonquins came from the northern regions of America, which they think might have somehow been connected to Asia at a point. Because remember, if the supposition of naturalists may obtain belief, there has been a whole continent reaching from the north of Europe to Bering Strait and uniting not only Europe with America on the east, but also Asia on the north, and may have continued on south from the Bering Strait some way down the Pacific, as a Buffon partly believing uniting America and China on the west.
Hold on, I got one more.
So in Christian nations, lending money for an interest rate was illegal. So because it was illegal for the Christians, who did the lending? The Jews. So there was Christians who could lend for 0% or didn't lend at all. And then these people called the Jews would come over and start lending money. They would start charging money. And in a couple generations, guess what would happen to the economy? The Jews owned everything. And then guess what the king did? Rounded them up and threw them out of the country. Then they go to the next country, and what would they do? Same thing. And what would that king do? Round them up, kick them out of the country. This went on for thousands of years. This is why the Jews in history have had no country, because the king would have, they would say no usury, no money lending, and they would start the money lending, they would start the central bank to compete with the king would kick them out. They go to the next country, do it again. So this has happened over and over and over again, because this quote right here from Napoleon, he was showed the compound interest tables, and he said in a very short amount of time, compound interest would eat up every piece of property in France. In fact, I'm going to show you how powerful compound interest is. Very scary thing. And there's a reason why it was illegal. Illegal in the Christian nations and the Christian philosophy, because it would literally enslave people. Guys, the interest on credit cards enslave people today. Does student loans enslave people today? We no longer have forced slavery. We have debt slavery now. It is no longer forced slavery. There's not a massa with a whip whipping you anymore to pick cotton or something like that, or build wallets or whatever you're doing, build boats, all sorts of slavery. We now have debt slavery, where somebody prints money and you now have to pay the money back plus interest. Okay, so Pareto's principle. In Italy, an economist named Pareto noticed that 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the families. The start of modern banking was in Italy. You had the Jewish population there, and they would exchange gold for notes. And in Italy, you had the Pareto principle, where 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the people. Who's heard of the 80-20 rule before? That's from Italy. And I want you to write this formula down. Time times compound interest equals power. And today, when you guys are investing in your game, we're going to be doing 30 years of investing over 3 days. So you got lots of time, and you have compounding numbers. So when you compound numbers over time, that becomes extremely. Usury is illegal. So in Christian nations, lending money for an interest rate was illegal. So because it was illegal.
Naughty, what up, man? I'm pulling these things up. Go ahead. You can set it off.
Yeah. What's going on?
Oh shit.
Let me get back. Let me go to the I like the one, just the information about the Algonquins, and this is the information I've been trying to get at people, and that's claiming that them Indians and all of that. Come bring it again.
You want to hear that again? All right.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up.
I want everyone to hear that again. And I wish you could find which book or document he reading that from.
Oh, it's the American Antiquities, 1835.
Everybody do research on that one.
Yeah, that's a boss hog. I'm a I got the book, so I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna spend a whole session on that one. Couple of things too, and that James Adair. I'm gonna tie them all in. And that other one the brother had put up, I'm gonna bring that one up too.
All right. So you bringing this up in the talk, and you know what happened and what's going on. So I'm just sitting here listening the solution, and so brother Nadi, right? You know he gonna go ahead and do the solution. But what I was asking is what the solution you was gonna say. We know this is happening, and you're showing it. But I need to know what else you're gonna say. Like, okay, since this is happening to us, this is what we need to do as a family.
He
I'm
said
just,
it. He said once already, your will,
yeah,
whether it be will and testimony or even a living will.
I didn't hear.
But he's saying that the trust isn't necessity of need, which I'm in total disagreement with that. Because I feel that you still have to orchestrate business, and using the trust as a business avenue is showing your governing of your estate. You see what I'm saying? Even though your will can be identified of your personal representation, your personal representation of what you want orchestrated for as a personal individual man or woman, but for as the estate of heritage or heresy to be left behind for future generations to come into a wealth of devouring system, this the estate and trust is needed.
Right. Well, the reason why I say that in the beginning is because it's already been set up. So if it's already been set up, once the transfer is done, you might want to set up some other trust in order to maybe pass the assets. But if you change it, then that actually wipes out the trust that was already set up. Because I think a will and a last will and testament, or a will, or with the land patent, whatever they had, is has a trust involved in it, because the trust only deals with the land patent would be kind of like your trust. You in your will, you have your beneficiaries, you have your executor, somebody that is to be one that's going to control that. So you still it's still considered to be a trust, would it not be?
No, the trust that's been set up that you're identifying is a minor account, which you have another fiduciary who can control of that, which is the United States. That what they deem to be done with the trust is what it's gonna be, unless you go and develop your estate in your own trust, which would place it in a major account. Now you tie the minor and the major together. Now you have more leadway because you have direct control. Now your orders of operation is that much definite because now the money is tied to the major account. So now you're going to be illustrating as the fiduciary. Now you can add other trustees like the United States to continue to hold the minor account. But as in transferring of funds, creating your bonds, becoming an SEC member, this is how you become these type of things and can orchestrate your trust in the state as this individual in conjunction with the United States and is in partnership because they have an SEC already developed. So when you create your bonds in your home, it's already connected to the minor account. You'll be a member where now it's like you'll be a bails bondsman or underwriter. You can go and create the bond, go to the Treasury Department, and they'll validate the bond into what's usable notes for the United States to asset.
Okay, hold on. Excuse me, brother, if I can say
Go
something.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, brother Naughty. Do you have a template and how we can go ahead and execute this? Cause you know, like you're saying all this, but like you have a template or
Yeah, I
that
got the
we can go
paperwork
ahead
right
and
here.
everybody can donate, you know, and like get it,
I
get
got
it
it.
done. Well, you're
I got
saying
it
it
all.
right
I
now.
got it all in my document. Whatever I speak, I already have it
I'm simply asking,
That's what
brother.
I'm saying.
I'm just saying,
I'm just
if we
letting you
can
know.
donate to you, let us know, cause you know, all you're talking about right now. Okay, cool. Let me know the template. That's
I
what I
got
want.
it. I have it.
All right,
I
cool.
have it.
Bless, brother, bless. Sorry, everybody. I just had to ask brother Naughty, but he got the knowledge. But I just want to see the template.
I have it.
All
I
right,
have it from A to
show me the
Z.
template. Now show
But
me the
see,
template.
this.
Show me the money.
But see, this is what I'm saying. Show me the money.
No,
A person want the
the
format of the
hurry up
knowledge,
format.
right?
No, I understand all
But
that, but I
they're
want to
not
see a template. What you're talking about?
but they're not willing. They're not willing to.
Look, man, you're like 3 feet from me.
They
So,
not even 3 feet. I got down 1.5. Goddamn.
this dude is a giant. He said he's
Hey,
a giant.
hey,
Then
hey.
he gonna knock out Amazon Reyes. Sorry, family.
No, you good. You
It's
good.
just an honor to have brother Nasi over here. You know, give me the knowledge, but I like to mess with him. Cause that's my brother right here. Show me the template, man. You talking all that, but show me some. What do I need to donate? What do I need to donate?
First, you gotta
What do
get
I need
some.
to donate?
You got to get some identification. Though the
You
state.
showed me that,
I showed you that. See, now get that
but
done. Once you get
I
that
want to
done,
see the template.
once you get that done, then you can come. I could give you more. But when I give you something one time and you don't move on it, the fuck I keep giving you stuff for?
Because you're my brother.
But
You're
you
my
ain't
brother.
doing
You're
nothing
my
with
brother,
it.
man.
You
All
ain't
right,
doing
man. We
nothing
got to
with
do
it though.
work here in about a few minutes.
Yeah, let's get it done.
Sorry, family, but that's how we are over here. I want to see templates. The solution. I know the problem, but what we're gonna do about the solution real quick and
You
now in
hear
a
me?
hurry.
You hear me? You hear
And I
me?
got it. And I got it.
Yeah,
It
all
just
right, let me see.
y'all just don't listen.
No, we listening.
No, y'all
We
don't
don't
listen.
see.
What you
We
looking
want
to
to see
what you want to see?
template. Man,
that
come on,
come
man. Give me
that
that.
come with something. You gotta
Yeah,
bring
you asked
something.
for
You
a
gotta bring
donation.
you gotta bring
I got you.
something.
I got you, man. I'll give you $10 for something. Come on, man. No worries.
Oh no. See, look, what I have is so valuable, bro.
I don't, man, bro. No,
You
bro.
can't put a
No, bro.
price on
No,
it.
bro. You the more
You can't
no,
put a price
man.
on it.
You see what I'm
I'm
saying?
letting you know.
I wish he was
So
on Jungle
the
Heat. I
boule,
wish he was in Jungle Heat
hey,
right
I
now.
I understand why the boule is who they are. You understand? Because it takes dedication of oneself to obtain knowledge and use it, apply it, to see if it works, to see what trial and tribulations. And others never want to go through that. They just want to give me now where I can try to manipulate something.
No,
That's what it is.
no, bro.
They're
I
trying to
need a
manipulate the
template
system,
to
and
follow
I'm
what
not
you're
going to allow
saying is
you to
going through.
use me to manipulate the system.
No, bro. It's
I,
a
when I
template we're
when
asking for, bro.
when I know how to work
The
the
listeners
system,
want to
I'm
know,
telling you how
okay,
to
we
work the
got that.
system.
We got that. We're enslaved. We got all that, bro. But now we need to see a template how to get out of it
No, I
quickly,
just showed
bro.
you. I
And
just
when I
showed
say
you.
quickly, I don't mean like
I just showed
tomorrow.
you. I just showed you how if you develop yourself in a company as a company, how them people want to throw money at you, bro.
Throw money
How
at you, not me.
well me
They
well.
want $5 million. He gonna get.
Hey,
They
but
want to
listen,
give him $5 million,
but just calm
family.
down. Just leave that alone.
All
Leave
right,
that
what
alone.
I say?
Leave that alone. Leave that alone. So what I'm saying is because the shit is real. What I'm doing, bro.
All right, man. All
It
right.
ain't no fake shit going on.
I already know. I know this. I'm just saying. I want to see a template. And if you
But
go,
I
if
ain't
you
the
ask me for a
template. Got the
donation,
arm,
I'll
the
give you
template got
$10. If you go beyond $10, man, forget your ass. I'll figure it out like I've been doing.
well, your ass just gonna have to motherfucking suffer.
All right. Sorry, family. Go ahead, my
Go
brother.
ahead, bro. He had to get that in.
I had to.
You live. You know you live, right?
Oh, I thought we were just talking though.
No, millions of people watching you.
Oh, my bad. Hey, family, it's all good, yo. This is my brother.
People in the Philippines watching you.
Oh yeah, man. Bobote, bobote, hermanos. My brothers and sisters.
People in Mexico.
Tante,
People
ate.
in Mexico watching you.
¿Cómo estás, todos gentes?
People in Japan checking you.
I don't speak Japanese.
You ready for the next round of hidden history?
Ah, shit.
Once again, just to be clear, this book comes from 1837. Well, it was produced in 1835. Look at that beautiful symbol right there. Okay. American Antiquities and Discoveries in the West. A further account of the convolution of the globe with the removal of islands. The innumerable islands scattered all over the Pacific Ocean, populous with men more than intimates a period ever since the flood, when all the different continents of the globe were united together and the sea so disposed of that they did not break this harmony so well calculated to facilitate the migration of men and animals. And this is where it gets good. Several tribes of the present southern Indians. Now, I want you to notice when we bring this up that in the other chapter, they were telling you that the people that are now considered Indians are not the same Indians that were here before. As they now are called, right? Several tribes of the present southern Indians, as they now are called, have traditions that they came from the east or through the Atlantic Ocean. Rufinsky says it is important to distinguish the American nations of Eastern origin from those of Northern. The latter, he says, were invaders from Tartary and were as different in their manners as were the Romans and the Vandals. See, very next chapter, evidence of an ancient population in America different from that of the Indians. Okay. Where it says that the race of Indians afforded in the discovery of the forts, mounds, tumuli, and the other continents as related by Western travelers in the research of the Antiquarian Society at the Cincinnati. But before we proceed to an account of the traits of this kind of population more than already given, we will remark that wherever plats of ground struck out into the circles, squares, or ovals are found, we are at once referred to an era when people and nation existed in this country more civilized, refined, and given to architectural, agricultural pursuits than are in the Indians. The southern nations among whom this tradition is found are the Natchez, the Appalachians, the Talascas, the Mayans, the Maquis, Maicas, and Haitians. Hold on, because I gotta make sure that you just caught that fucking gem that just dropped there. Listen. Do you realize that they just told you that the Mexicans, the Mayans, the Appalachians, do you realize that they're telling you that these people are the Mongolians? But those of the Algonquin stock point to a northwest origin, which is the way from the northern regions of Asia. So realize that what they're telling you is that the Algonquins came from the northern regions of America, which they think might have somehow been connected to Asia at a point. Because remember, if the supposition of naturalists may obtain belief, there has been a whole continent reaching from the north of Europe to Bering Strait and uniting not only Europe with America on the east, but also Asia on the north, and may have continued on south from the Bering Strait some way down the Pacific, as a Buffon partly believing uniting America and China on the west. All right, you ready for the next round of hidden history? Once again, just to be clear.
All right.
And show you that there's
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, you know, from long I've been telling you that prescribed Indian chart is not We really the indigenous part of America, so-called America. They was all corporations. They was all up under a business aspect. The Erie people, the Erie Nation, or the Iroquois and the Haudenosaunee and all of them format people created the Swiss Confederacy in 1256. Them fought with in the Battle of Hastings in 1056. The one people from this line, like just from this line, originally, indigenously. We've been dealing with these people from back in BC time, what them called BC. I was telling my brethren today, the Africus, which was be the 13th um constellation that they took out. OPHEUCHAS, I think it is.
Yeah. What about him?
No, no, if you go and identify with this constellation, this is really the serpent god.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 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 I called his name out earlier. Damn, what's his name?
Offerus.
Yeah, but no, it was the American serpent god. What was his name?
Catalyst, something.
Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah,
Quetzalcoatl.
See.
Right, Quetzalcoatl. So this was a site prior to the Christianity identity coming inside of our faith base or understanding of nature of naturalism. You understand? Before the sun god worship or the sun worship. These different tribes or Indian tribes is what brought in the sun god worship to our people. That's where this shit started. Way back in them BCE era.
All right. Well, from what I'm reading, the way I'm looking at it is, you know, there might be having these stories before this major flood of some sort. I think it's going back a little bit further than what people might be thinking. Like it was like maybe 300, 400, 500, 600 years ago, 700 years ago. It was maybe more prior to that. I mean, based on the new things that are being found in America, they founding new stuff every day. I guess they have been instructed to stop, hiding this history in America. They got to release it. But even these people here, let's say the people different from the North, from the South, I mean, that's always been the case. So if there's people different in the North and in the South, what makes you think that they actually came from somewhere else versus went somewhere else and maybe came back? Now, that's the reason why I say that is I'm gonna get on this real quick. Let me get in my PDF. Right. So I found this right here. I found this, and this was kind of interesting. So you have the Mayans, you have the book Queen Mu, you have that book, and then you have this Mayans origin in ancient southern India. But what this is actually saying, now this is actually from this website. What's the website? India.org or India-something.org, IndiaDivine.org. There you go. Now, the only reason why I give a lot of these other countries, these other nations, and these other places a little bit more credibility is because they show and honor their history, their gods, and they pretty much spell it out. You know, you got all the different type of books that they have, and this right here, right, as they start off, they say, note the temple pictured above in its resemblance in color and style to that of the Egyptians. South American pyramids are, of course, related to Egyptian pyramids. If the Mayans have much in common with the Egyptians, then they must share a common origin. The Egyptians come from southern India. Now, in my studies, that what they're saying, what they have said is the trek came from west, if we're dealing with the map as it is today, west to India, all through the greater part and the minor part of Asia, into what you would consider to be the middle Mesopotamia, into Egypt. Now, we can reference that in the Bible because that's the trek Abraham came through. Because he was from Sumer, went over through Asia Minor, and then came down in from Syria into what is considered to be through where the Canaanites and the Hamites were, Kemites, and down into Egypt and Ethiopia. So if that's the trek, that's the trek, because we know coming from California over to India, it really wouldn't take that long if you just took a straight shot that way. You could get there probably like in the same time you get there in a plane from California to New York. Might take you 5 hours. Now, this right here, now this is them talking here. Now, this is these people in India talking. This is what they're saying. Under the reign of Viswamitra, first king of the dynasty of Somavanga, in consequence of a battle which lasted 5 days, Manuvina, heir of the ancient kings, being abandoned by the Brahmins, immigrated with all his companions, passing through Arya in the countries of Baria till he came to the shores of Masra. Now, if we know Masra as Mitzrayim, or what they call Mitra as well, and that's what they relate to what is considered to be Egypt. We just going with the narrative. Now, you got a reference right here, History of India by Kaluka Bhatta. Unquestionably, this Manuvina and Menes, the first Egyptian king, are identical. So we got Arya is Iran, Persia. Baria is Arabia. Masra was the name of Cairo, which to this day is called Masra, Misro. Phoenician history names Masr as one of the ancestors of Hermes. Now, if people actually understand history in their Bible, then they will be able to understand this right here. Now, this makes sense to me based on how you relate all the different histories in the books that were actually written way back when. Now, I'm gonna stop right there, and what you guys take on it?
Much. I want solutions.
That
You did a good job, bro, bringing it all up. But like,
ain't
we
happening
got it.
today.
We got it. I need solutions,
That
brother.
ain't happening right now. So you
Do
better.
what? No, it ain't gonna happen. But
Hey,
what I'm
check this
saying
out.
is,
Check
what
this
is the
out.
procedure?
Hey,
No.
check this out. Check this out.
What is the procedure, bro?
Check this
Let's
out.
help
Check
me
this
get the
out.
procedure going.
Hey, bro, check this out. Listen or fall all the way back and be quiet.
Oh, okay. I got you, brother.
All right.
Bless.
All right. So look, because the way I do things is we're gonna slow walk this thing because we got to know all these different aspects, because this is how all the nations maintain their sovereignty, because they know where they come from. You ain't gonna get no fucking remedy if you don't know where the hell you come from. If not, you might as well just go ahead and pay your goddamn bills. Get a job. Because this we talking about on the higher level.
Bless, brother. Oh, I'm glad
all
you said that. Go ahead. I got you.
right, cool. Now we know for a fact that America is is the beginning of these things, and history was told in reverse, then what else are they lying about? So if they're lying about this or they hiding it, then this information is important, because you can go ahead and get your trust set up. You can go get this, get that, but you still got the same mentality of a debtor. You ain't solvent in your mind. You just want to get something. Don't work like that. Not over here. Now, under the circumstances, let me get back to it. Now, this right here is tying in to what this screen that Nadi wanted me to bring back up about that American Antiquities and the other videos that are showing, and they're making this connection, as long with the James Adair and the Trail of Tears book, that the chosen people, or they consider to be the people of the Bible, is in America. That the people was actually coming over here to learn and study from us. So if that's the case, and it's got to be us, because we can't put our finger on anything outside of, being here in America. So this is going to be a long series, because we got to put something down in place. You got to put something down in place in order to make your claim. In order to have a claim, you got to be a real party in interest. If you can't prove that you're a real party in interest, then you have nothing. You have no claim. So yeah, I think that's what I need. That's a little bit too much. But look, we're gonna get to this in a minute. Now, here's the other aspect of it, and I'm gonna go back to this right here, and we'll pull this back up because this is tying to what Nadi was talking about in regards to that one. Let's see if he knows. He's seen this book.
Another book I got is called The Trail of Tears. The Rise and Fall of the Cherokee Nation by John L. All right? Trail of Tears. Trail of Tears. Now watch this. We're gonna go inside this book, and we're gonna see what it says. This is the very first page of the first chapter of the book. Very first paragraph. Let's see what it says. Investigations were made in the 17th and 18th centuries to determine whether the American Indians were the lost tribes of Judah. And it was pretty well proved, both yes and no. Hold up, wait a minute. So you telling me, how long was a century? 100 years? For 200 years, the white man gathered information to prove to themselves that this is exactly where the 12 tribes are, and that the Native American Indians are of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's 200 years of proof that you are the Israelites. 200 years of
So that right there, because you have forms of law. You have natural law, you have man-made law. Right? We function under natural law. Everything we do is natural. We don't trespass on people. We want everybody to win and get money. We ain't worried about what the next nigga doing. I mean, you have certain people that just don't love their life, and they worried about what another nigga doing or what a nigga got an idea on. He can't make his own. There you go. But this right here, and you got these people that took 200 years to study all the different things of what we were doing. Now, this whole spectrum of the Bible is not to be condensed to this one little small area that they call Eden in Egypt, or what they consider to be Egypt today. This is vast. This is big. Everybody say this rock right here goes back billions of years with people walking upright. To condense this whole thing of a remedy to a trust, a will, and a patent is asinine to me. Because if I get into the fact of dealing with those aspects, then I'm consumed by it. It has me under arrest. But if I control it and I'm hands off, then I can still move around freely. Now, let me get back to these PDFs. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to this remedy, man. Be patient. Got you, brother. I got you. Now, this is Aboriginal title, right? Here's what they consider to be Aboriginal title. Aboriginal title is a common law doctrine that the land rights of indigenous peoples, customary tenure, persist after the assumption of sovereignty to that land. Check. I already checked that box. The requirements of proof for recognition of Aboriginal title, the content of Aboriginal title, the methods of extinguishing Aboriginal title, and the availability of compensation in the case of extinguishment vary significant by jurisdiction. Nearly all jurisdictions are in agreement that Aboriginal title is inalienable and that it may be held either individually or collectively. Aboriginal title is also referred to as indigenous title, native title, like in Australia, original Indian title in the United States. So there goes your people that says, well, the Aborigines are just in Australia. No, it says right here, indigenous title, native title is in Australia. Original Indian title is in the United States. This is how vast Indians are in regards to the Western Hemisphere, for one, in the world, and two. So Aboriginal title jurisprudence is related to indigenous rights, influencing and influenced by non-land issues, such as whether the government owes a fiduciary duty to indigenous peoples. While the judge-made doctrine arises from customary international law, has been codified nationally by legislation, treaties, and constitutions. So legislation, treaties, and constitutions is recognition. That is where you get your recognition from. Now, where is the other one at? Okay, so this is Aboriginal title in the United States, right? Because we talk about fee simple. You know about fee simple, you got Aboriginal title. So now here's the difference, right? So we already got to the original title. So I'm gonna come right here to unlike other jurisdictions. The content of Aboriginal title is not limited to historical or traditional land issues, land uses. Aboriginal title may not be alienated except to the federal government or with the approval of Congress. I'll read that again. Aboriginal title may not be alienated except to the federal government or with the approval of Congress. Aboriginal title is distinct from the lands Native Americans own in fee simple and occupy under federal trust. So you see there's two separate things we have going on here. Now, I showed you guys what a donor is. And this is how you see where you have separate occupations Either you have aboriginal title and you have fee simple. So in aboriginal title, you can alienate it. You can alienate it, right? But if you don't alienate it, it then becomes fee simple. But either under both definitions, it is considered to be outright ownership. Now, what a donor is here, right? A donor right here is the one conferring the power, the one who makes a gift, the one who creates a trust. The donor, the donee of power, the person to whom the settlor or donor of a power of appointment gives such power to be exercised. In the case of a special power in favor of a limited class, such as members of a family, or in the case of a general power in favor of anyone, including the donee himself. So when you have your last will and testament, the one that creates the will is actually the donor, and the donee at that point in time is the one that's actually given the actual authority to exercise for the benefit of all the people and the beneficiaries that you have. Now, if we want to sit here and we want to get to where we can actually get some solutions, this is where you start. Now, when the other guy was speaking, when he was actually sharing that information in regards to the trust not being subject to, then you know that actually that they're talking about American people. They think they are Americans. But you cannot be American if you came here after 1890. And really, you can't be really American after you got over here after 1870. If you fought in the war, then you was actually given some allotments. Even then, you would consider to be naturalized as a United States citizen or possibly an American. But we know that those people that were considered to be the ones that came through were melanated people. So under the circumstances, let's get to what we talk about in regards to the settlor. So we have a donor, we got a settlor, we got the ors and the es. The ors are the people that actually have the rights and is the one that actually has the intent and has control and has the power to convey, grant, gift, seed, or anything else in regards to land or any other type of asset for their use. But the use is for the benefit of the grantor or the donor and their beneficiaries and their heirs to come. Now let's get into these because I wanted to go over these this American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. What are they actually saying? Because if we don't know where to go in order to get the remedy, then we're going to be stuck. Now, for people that put a lot of stake into the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, here's what you need to know. The Indian Law Resource Center is a nonprofit organization, so this is just kind of disclosure on what these guys are. Established and directed by American Indians. We provide legal assistance without charge to Indian, Alaskan, Native nations that are working to protect their lands, resources, human rights, environment, and cultural heritage. On June 15, 2016, the Organization of American States, look that up, 2016, after almost 30 years of debate, adopted the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Indigenous leaders must be commended and congratulated for their work to negotiate and produce the final text, which is of overwhelming importance for the advancement of the rights of indigenous peoples of the region, including North, Central, and South America, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Adoption of the declaration by all member states of the OAS is a key monument in history. We're going to go down here. I'm looking for some. So this declaration enumerates a set of individual and collective rights, such as the right of self-determination, right to exist as tribes and distinct peoples, the right to own their land and resources, the right to enforcement of and respect for treaties, and protection and access to their sacred places. I'm looking for the places. Who is a part of this? Where they at? 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 Okay, so this Organization of American States, I'm trying to pull up where they actually, I'm trying to see where they actually have the American states. Now, these are considered to be American states, key American states. The United States remains committed to addressing the urgent issues of concern to indigenous peoples across the Americas, including combating addressing lack of poor living, reparations. The United States, however, persistently objected to the text of this American Declaration, which is not itself legally binding. This is important too. The United States has, however, persistently objected to the text of this American Declaration, which is not itself legally binding, does not therefore create new law, and is not a statement of Organization of American States. Member states' obligations under treaty or customary international law. The United States reiterates its longstanding belief that implementation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People should remain the focus of the OAS and its member states. OAS member states join other UN member states in renewing their political commitments with respect to the UN Declaration at the World Conference on Indigenous Peoples. It's an important and challenging initiative underway at the global level to realize respective commitments in the UN Declaration in the outcome document of the World Conference. Canada reiterates its commitment to a renewed relationship with its Indigenous people based on recognition of rights. Where is that thing at? Where is it at? Well, the one thing that I want to show, I'm taking too much time on this, but the one thing I want to show was that was that the United States is considered to be one of the states and the Organization of American States. The United States is considered to be a state. Now, I wanted to read a couple things on this so that way we can get to the articles. Let's get to these articles here. Okay. Article 1, indigenous peoples have the right to fulfill enjoyment as a collective or as individuals of all human rights and fundamental freedoms, as recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and international human rights law. Now, it seems like at the end of the day, this is going to have to be the route. Article 2, indigenous people and individuals are free and equal to all other peoples and individuals and have the right to be free from any kind of discrimination in the exercise of their rights, in particular that based on their indigenous origin or identity. Indigenous people have the right to self-determination, right? Self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. And indigenous peoples, in exercising their right to self-determination, this is Article 4, have the right to autonomy or self-government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. So in these situations that we have right here, this is your basic fundamental start. This is your basic fundamental start. And this is way we have to approach the situation. Now, I'm going to get me some water and give me a break. I'll be right back.
Okay. The participants that's part of the OAS, which would start out with Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, Bahamas. Bahamas is a commonwealth, so it's a Bahamas is a republic. Independent. Bahamas is independent. Barbados, Belize, continuing on, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia. Or did I say Colombia? No, I didn't say Colombia. Costa Rica, Cuba, excluded from participation in 1962, while in 1962 resolution was deemed void. In 2009, Cuba has not sought re-entry. Dominica, Commonwealth, which is an independent island. Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, suspended in 2009, reinstated in 2011. Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua announced withdrawal in 2021, which became effective in 2023. Panama, Paraguay, Peru, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, United States, Uruguay, Venezuela. In 2017, it was announced the withdrawal, but the OAS recognized representatives of the National Assembly until 2022. The OAS founded in 1948 in Bogota, Colombia, with 21 original members.
Okay, you reading from the list right now?
Say it again.
Is that off the dome, or are you reading that from some? I would like to pull it up.
Yeah, you can pull that up. I guess ask what countries are affiliated with the OAS. That's what you probably and we'll see if that comes in. But yeah, dome talk off the dome. So listen, when we're looking at this situation now, we're identifying the United States as an indigenous identity. This is what they're shooting for, by being recognized as an individual state as a whole. So they're taking on the site of being indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
So what their rules and their policies and regulations will be held as a cultural event, or a culture of recognizing.
So that means, so okay, so so you saying the United States is being seen as something that is indigenous? Is that what you're saying?
Say it again.
You saying the United States is being seen as indigenous?
Yeah, that's what they're representing in the OAS. They're representing as being indigenous to the Americas. All those countries all those countries I just called out are being, they're moving in exile, but trying to identify themselves back in place as indigenous. You got to remember the 2014 act from the Pope had solidified the landing thing back to the people. So now they're trying to identify as them being part of the people, as recognizing the United States and all of its policies as being a culture identity.
Okay.
They're trying to rename or reclassify themselves when the reckoning come down as the land going back to the people.
Based on all the territory the United States is occupying. So
Yep.
they got to be a part of it by default.
Well, they're claiming they're indigenous. Ain't no one else in America claiming they're indigenous. You see, the countries are claiming they're indigenous. These are countries, bro. These are not people.
Right.
These are government policies and statutes and ordinances and codes and regulations and constitutions that's being identified as indigenous to the Americas. Not a person, not an individual. The nations. So it's getting rid of the natural man again.
Okay.
So those policies of the indigenous, what you was just reading the articles, that's what's recognized for those countries. Because they identifying as the indigenous states of the Americas.
Okay, cool. I mean, because that shit was confusing me. I was like, well, why are they creating their own thing when there's already a United Nations Declaration of Rights for Indigenous Peoples? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're going outside of that because they're trying to solidify the Americas. You know, the United States is not part of the UN. They just
Yeah.
the bodyguard. They just the bodyguard for the UN, the security for the UN.
UN, United Nations, was something else way before they called
The
themselves UN.
League of Nations.
The League, yeah.
Right.
So we got to understand they can change their corporate name, whatever they want. But how do we defend from it? You know, that's what we're talking about right now.
Not affiliating with it.
That too, as well. I'm just saying. They can say whatever. They can say whatever. You stay on your square. Stay on your square.
No, it's not. See, we got to come out of that mentality too. You got to put in notification. You have to put in documentation so they can be notified on who the fuck you are. So this way, the acquiescence isn't there. The consent isn't there. The identity of one's status or statue or standing is in place. So if we keep running from this paperwork that we need to show to be in notifications of who the fuck we are, we're fucking
Yeah,
up.
I understand.
We're fucking up.
I got
So
you.
individuals that don't want to read and write and don't want to
Matter of fact,
study
if
is
you
fucking up.
travel, you're supposed to let the people know too that you're going through their jurisdiction. You gotta let them know. I know that, but man, you gotta, it's scary as hell because
It
now
ain't
they got
bro.
no, bruh.
It's notification. Once you make notification, it's law.
I gave them a
It's law.
notification, bro. A white officer pulled me over right there on Northside Drive, bro. Northside Drive. I lifted my tag, but my back up, like if I was picking something up that fell. The officer came to me, man. He's like, "Yo, look, your tags is off a little bit. You know, it's not, current and all that. What's going on? But go ahead. Look, can you slow it down a little bit for me?" I'm like, "Yes, sir, I will." I was like, "Oh shit," because I was ready to defend myself. But when he said that, I was like, "I ain't gonna argue with this man," because you got to know you got to know you're choosing picks on it. But yeah, we don't want to be part of nothing. You said that. We didn't say that we was that. We didn't say we were Americans like that.
But when a person put out a claim and the claim stand uncontested within a time frame, 30 days.
No, 7 days, bro.
It's 30
7
days.
days. No, it's 7 days, bro.
a publication, bro,
All right.
has to run for 30 days. Make it law.
No, I got it. No, I'm good.
So you don't think that the OAS,
Say it again.
You don't think the OAS is they set up the American Declaration of Rights for Indigenous Peoples because they really aren't a part of the UN? They had to adopt their own thing and be in compliance.
Oh, in compliance with representation of the land going back to the indigenous, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they created their own indigenous status.
Okay, so let me throw this out there. I'm about to freestyle this shit now. And to the other brother, what's your name again, brother?
Taz.
I'm a freestyle this. Yeah.
Go ahead, my brother.
Talk about notice. We talk about remedy, right? Trust, will, everything.
Exactly.
Taxation, self-determination, self-governance, all these different type of things. Do not trespass upon me. All right. So I create my notice. My notice then is going to be to these major departments or these agencies within the federal government. Then it trickles down to the state. Then it trickles down to the county. Then it trickles down to the city. Right? I give them all notice who I am. And I have everything that backs that up. Everything is shown, everything registered. Here you go. You don't get everything in that sense. You get declarations and certifications of those things that are properly filed, registered, authenticated, and recorded.
Apostille.
Right.
So everyone that's listening has that set up.
No.
No. Okay, that's what I'm set up. I'm good, but I'm just saying that by listening to what you're saying, my comment would be like, okay, not everybody set up, and you're saying this. Okay, let's do that. Like, show me that. Show me what you're talking about. You know, and so
All right.
of course it's gonna have to be off record. You know what I'm saying?
But wait.
No, not
When,
necessarily. I know
hold
how
on.
to
When,
I know how to flip it without
but
saying too
wait,
much.
but wait.
Go ahead.
What more does it take for someone to tell you to set up a notification on your own? I can't tell you how to describe yourself, your
No, you
page.
don't have to do a declaration, brother.
No.
But
Listen.
what I'm
Set the
saying is what
notification.
he's saying.
He just gave what he needed to give. He don't need to give a template. The template was his words.
Right, but his words, but we need help to figure it out. To like, hey, do we go to courtroom for this, or do we need to just go ahead and do
No,
this? That's what I'm talking about.
set up
I got you, Nutty.
on a paper as a
I got you, Nutty.
notification of who the fuck you are and what you represent.
No, you're doing this.
I got you. I got you,
Go ahead,
Nutty.
my brother.
I got you,
I
Nutty.
didn't get to smash you.
Let
Go
me,
ahead, go ahead.
like I said, I can
put
say a
on
little
mute.
bit more. I can say a little bit more. Right. So you gotta correct your status. A lot of status correctors or people that hear that, they say, well, what, you got to change this and change? No. You just got to declare who you are. You got to take ownership and control of who you are, and you got to zero out accounts. So anything that was done under your name first, before you get to anybody else, got to help yourself before you can help anybody else. Got to make sure all those things are rectified. That means you need to go do a live scan, pull your federal information and your state, anything that got your name attached to it. It's going to show what jobs you applied for. It's going to show where you worked, what you did, this, that,
Man,
and
it showed that I was a felon, bro. I was like, oh my God, dude, you crazy as that.
Now,
I looked it up.
you
What
gonna
you
let me,
saying?
you gonna let me get it off? Let me.
No, I
I
was
thought you wanted to
surprised
hear
by
it.
it. Like, holy crap, they really believe this felon.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So once you get that, right, you get those records. You pull all those records. You got your credit report, everything. You pull everything. You got LexisNexis. You pull all these different things out, so you see exactly what's going on. There's also there's a website that you can actually go on, type in your name or your social security number. You see a lot of people that's trading on your name. You can actually go to treasury.gov and go pull out somewhere you can go look up payment bonds or paper series bonds on your name. It's about gathering all that information. Then you got to go check the Secretary of State under the Uniform Commercial Code tab and go check your name and see if there's any liens on your name. Anybody got any UCC liens on your name? I mean, you got to do all of that. On top of that, you got to make sure you correct the grammar. It's called the Styles Manual. You got to correct all these different things. You got to touch every portion of all these instruments without changing them, but amending them and adding things and correcting. There's a difference between changing and correcting. Now, once you're able to get all that together and you get all that stuff, then you slide it over. You protect it. You put an umbrella over it. Shelter. It's a tax term. Shelter. You put something over that. Then you're able to get some understanding, right? Some knowledge about how to deal with the federal government, the state, and the county, the local, and depending on how you do it, in order to zero these things out and come to some agreement. And once you do that, hey, got action. Now, once you get all those things under control, you know what I'm saying? You put your notice together. You have all your declarations. You have your certifications. Everything has been properly registered. You have now a portion of control, because I don't recommend getting full control. I still will make sure that the government has some type of fiduciary capacity, so that way I can send my issues to them and they can handle it for me. See what I'm saying? But that's just me.
And you have done this, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
But it's a lot of work. I'm not done. There's so much shit out there. I went and I did my process. I found 35 QSIP numbers with my name attached to it. My name is being traded all over the place. I mean, because I worked, I had jobs, credit cards, this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? Been locked up a couple times. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. Anytime you put your John Hancock on something, it's gonna get traded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless we know how to sign it the correct way.
Even then,
Okay.
it's like I said the other day. I think I told Nadia this. I said, look, if I knew the game like this 30 years ago, 40 years ago,
20 years ago, me.
I wouldn't mind signing that thing. I'd know how to endorse it properly. I'd say, shit, hell yeah, let's run that more. Yeah, let's run that student loan. I know it's a security instrument. I know it's a pooling and service agreement. I know I can bank off that shit. And I know I'm a third party. I know I have beneficial interest in these instruments and these contracts and things like that. I know these are letters of credit. I know how to utilize the internal, the internal revenue code and treasury regulations to my advantage, because I know their fiduciary responsibilities, and I know about 1933, the New Deal, and the public trust, and so on and so forth, and da 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 da. Yeah, run it. I know I'm investing in the United States, so I wouldn't have no problem doing that at all. The big bad wolf is no longer the big bad wolf. It is now my pet. Sit, ubu, sit. And it's okay. You know? I mean, even if the cop pulled me over, hey man, what's the nature, state the nature of your business today? Well, you didn't turn your blinker on over here. Okay, well, how may I help you? Well, such and such and such and such. Okay, well, before I give you anything, I want to make sure that you, for real, that you actually are a law enforcement officer and you're here to serve and protect. Yeah? Yes, I am. Okay, well, am I disturbing the peace? Well, no, but you got all right, so look, how can we fix this? What can we do? All right, well, I need your license and registration. Well, I need your badge number and I need a business card. Do you have that? No, I don't have that. Okay, well, I don't have that for you. Well, you have to. Oh, okay, so are you threatening me? No, I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying. Okay, well, what are you saying? Now, are we doing business or what are we doing? I mean, because if there's some business involved, I like to be fully aware and disclosing what I'm getting into. So that way I know I'm indemnified from whatever happens or what you're doing that I don't know nothing about. So, under the circumstance, that's what we're doing. I can actually have a conversation with Johnny Law like that because I know the process. I'm just saying. It's business, right, Nadia? It's business.
Yeah.
What's the nature of your inquiry? That's the first thing you say to that police officer. He gonna be like, huh? Yeah. What's the nature of your inquiry? How may I help you? Yeah. That's gonna change this whole motherfucking stance. Now, under the circumstance, right? Title 26, 1.1275-3, right? That's OID, right? We're talking about 1099s. Now you know about that, right? You got an A, which is dealing with lender borrower. You got a C, which deals with creditor debtor. You have a B, which is barter broker exchange. You got a DIV, which deals with dividends. You got the INT, which deal with interest income. You got an NEC that deals with non-employee compensation. You got an OID, which is your original issue discount, and discount is equal to be credit, the original issuer of the credit. Now, you can lay all those things down in one lump. But the one thing that starts, and Nadi knows this, is that A. Because if I issue something to you, and I know that you are in fiduciary capacity, right? Like old boy said, corporations and partnerships, they're regulated by the United States, not people. So if I'm actually sending you that, if I do that, as soon as I issue that credit, and then I do endorsement, right? I do the endorsement. It's on Article 3. What an endorsement is of the UCC, special or blank. You have a special endorsement or you have a blank endorsement. A blank endorsement is you don't give instructions or orders. A special endorsement is you sign and you say pay to the order of, or pay to bearer, or pay to J. Aton. Bam. Nadi. Root word. Task. It's on the document. Once you do that, there it is. It's a unilateral contract, or considered to be a promissory note, or just a note, or any type of negotiable instrument that you utilize. They can no longer then take that endorsement, because it's not in blank anymore, and put their own instructions on it for it to be the benefit of them. The other word is called special deposit, or deposit with specific instructions. That's the donor thing that I was showing. Now, and the corpus juris secundum in banks and banking talks about that. That creates.
Pull it over?
No, we're talking about trust, and we're talking about claiming, remedies. No, I was just giving an example of that. But anyway, shout out to you.
That's what you was talking about at first, getting pulled over?
Nah. I was using that as an example. I said, based on what I know, I said I wouldn't mind if I got pulled over. I know exactly what to say. Hey, if I sign this ticket, I know I could get money off that. Shit, run it.
Hey,
hello, I ain't going to jail.
When you get pulled over, what is it, bro?
When I get pulled over, what is it?
No, anything dealing with contracts, what is it, especially when you get pulled over, bro? I taught Nadi this. I taught my student this before.
The first thing,
and they use it to this day, bro.
The first thing it's an inquiry.
No, it's not an inquiry. It's a contract.
No, it's not. How could it be a contract when you ain't contracted with them yet?
Because it's called meeting of the minds, sir. It's when the minds meet.
You said when you get pulled over.
When you get pulled over, the cop comes to you and try to get you in a contract called meeting of the minds.
Listen, in order to have a meeting of the minds, there must be. In order to have a meeting of the minds, there must be a inquiry or an offer. Now, pulling me over and stopping me ain't an offer. My tire might be low. Something might be happening. My car might be wiggling. I don't know about. Might be smoke coming out my tailpipe. I don't know.
So how can they still file a lawsuit against that without an inquiry that you're talking about?
How can who file a lawsuit?
That's what a ticket is a lawsuit.
No, it's not.
A contract.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a contract, but it's not a contract until you accept it, right? Offered. Either you have a counterclaim or you have an acceptance, offered and acceptance.
See, that's why I was scared to come up here. I was listening a little bit, but like, bro, you so far off because you've never like looked it up before. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to say all contracts, especially tickets, start at the meeting of the minds.
I'm just saying, no, they don't.
No, I'm talking about the first step is the meeting of the minds. Is the person going to get into this contract with this person? It's the meeting of the minds. It's not called whatever you just said.
Inquiry.
That's bull. I mean, I can't I'm not like mad at them. I'm just like, that don't have nothing to do with contracts.
Contracts is offer and the acceptance.
That's
offer
the meeting of the mind.
Really, you're supposed to be an offer, counter offer. Where then you have a meeting of the minds. If you just have an offer and an acceptance, like here's a ticket, sign it. or give me your ID and all this stuff, and you going along with everything they saying, that's a different type of contract. There's no meeting of the there's no meeting of the minds because you never asked a question. You never came with a counter.
Aton, this is crazy. You just should look it up, bro. You should
Hey,
just look it up.
If they ask me, I need your driver's license and registration, and I ask them, is that mandatory? Is that by law I have to do that? And they say no. I said, well, what if I don't give it to you? I'm taking your ass to jail. Oh, shit. Where's the meeting of the minds at? Ain't there. That's threat, duress, and coercion. Do I have to sign this ticket? No. Said? If you don't sign the ticket, I'm taking your ass to jail.
You're going to get somebody killed, bro. You're going to get somebody killed. You wouldn't offer this information to nobody you loved.
I'm giving an example.
Because it's law.
I'm giving you an example. I'm not telling nobody to do anything.
Brother. What I'm saying is I'm listening to you. I ain't cut you off. All I'm saying is you're wrong. It's law. It's lawful. It's under amendments, statutes, and codes, bro. That shit is lawful. I digress.
Does that mean I don't have the right to look at it? If I ask, can I see it?
I'm saying at least, let me make sure I say this correctly. No disrespect. At least understand that all contracts start at meeting of the minds. Every last contract in the world. You might want to look it up in law. Meeting of the minds.
Now, I'm not saying this, and just for this full disclaimer, I'm not saying this to avoid anything. Not to avoid paying, not avoid the police, not to go against this and go against the rightful law that is justified and written in stone. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking for an example. Having rights, having equal protection on the law, you don't have a right to know who you're giving your information to, the right to privacy. None of that matters. That's all I'm asking.
Hey, Tom, you're asking allegorical statements that can't be handled in when you get pulled over. I don't understand what you're saying. Like, a cop don't have to put up with that shit. A cop pull you over and say, hey, man, let me see your license, this and that. You say anything, bro, and they can snatch you up out that car, bro.
Well, I'm not a rookie. You know, when rookies get to the league, you know, everything moves fast and they don't know what to do until they get comfortable in themselves to be able to have that thing move slowly. And you can have a conversation without getting your blood pressure up.
Oh, man.
You actually had a conversation with them, and you just know how to conduct yourself.
Hey, Tom.
I've
been pulled over the last 3 years, and I've used that sovereign stuff, and all the cops know, and they ask me, are you a sovereign citizen? I say, you can't be a sovereign citizen. They know this stuff. People have knocked on their door at the police station and said, check this out. We're going to show you how to deal with these retards that don't know law. Slam them on their head. I'm telling you, that's what the cops, man, that's what they do if you do it wrong. And I'm saying, you like, let me make sure I just say this right, because it's not disrespectful, because we all learning. Bro, a ticket is a lawsuit. It's a suit. So the only way to beat a suit at the beginning is file a countersuit. Don't get mad at that cop. When that cop asks you for your ID and asks you for your insurance, most likely you're going to have to give him that insurance. You hand him a piece of paper with your name on it. And it says, I, Aton, or I, Andre Murphy, is in this car, and I'm wondering, what are you claiming I did wrong? What are you claiming? See, so now you got on the record, now you got lawfully, if this cop goes forward, now you have a counter lawsuit. No argument, no bullshit. It's just suit for suit. And that's what Nadi got in his car right now. 50 pieces of paper that's still gonna get him knocked in his head because he's talking about, oh, I'm Aboriginal, indigenous, I'm from the Yucatan Basin, and I'm claiming Cherokee, and I'm fucking the Moorish Science Temple. No, bro, get to the point. You pulled me over claiming I did something wrong. My countersuit is, I have did nothing wrong. And I'll see you in court. I ain't about to play with these motherfuckers. I don't want my mom, my son, and anybody I get this information to get hit in the head to make these cops mad. You hand them a piece of paper with that insurance. saying my name is Andre Murphy. See, you hand them that contract, just like they hand you a contract. You hand it to them. They most likely gonna throw it back at you. But at least you got on there that you did a counterclaim right there in their face. And I digress.
Yeah, see, Nate said right up in there, man, everybody that's seen these things where black, brothers, FBI agents, just regular in their car getting handled by the police. I mean, what are you talking about here, man? Now, quickly.
Because
hold on, real
if
quick.
you see all of them, now that's just proving that everything that you're going to do, you're going to get slammed on your head.
I want to
see,
address
that's why I say all y'all are foul, bro, because y'all
I
see
wanna
that a
address
cop
your
will
countersuit.
grab, you're out here telling people this information, and you know a cop will grab an FBI agent. So quit telling people to go out here and do anything.
I ain't said do anything.
See what I'm saying? Y'all crazy. You know that you have no right to talk to that cop. My fault for cutting you off. My fault, go ahead, brother. My fault, Aton. My fault.
God damn, calm down. I'm giving examples. I'm giving wild examples. This is not anything telling anybody to do anything. I'm talking about me. Now listen,
see, when
hold
you
on.
say that, though,
hold on. I'm gonna get naughty in this. Man,
that's my student, bro.
Hey, Root Word mentioned countersuit.
Bro,
Now,
do you understand? We learned this on the same channel.
Listen,
He's going to agree with me.
Okay, I'm not saying for him to disagree or agree to nothing. We're gonna break
Bro,
this.
he got it in his car, Aton. What I taught him or what he learned on my channel, whichever way it went, it's in his car right now.
Root Word, I don't care. All right, now let me get let me get to Root Word. I mean, naughty. He mentioned countersuit. Give me two things. The one thing, what is the power of a countersuit? And number two, what else can a countersuit be called? If you know. If you don't know, I'll fill in the blanks. Now, if you look at the screen in the meantime, Nutty's about to answer. In the meantime, I need you to look at the screen.
Though, because you're barking up the wrong tree with me and Nutty. We're way more advanced than this shit. We done tried this shit out in real life, Aton. Quit trying to manipulate us, bro.
Hey, listen.
We really tried this shit out in real life, Aton, so you can't really, because I'm about to back down and leave. But, bro, you barking up the wrong tree with me and Nutty.
Don't go nowhere. And before you leave, look at the screen. Now, go ahead. Go ahead, Nutty.
Bro, you didn't say nothing about offering acceptance. You said some stuff about, I don't know what you said, some weird stuff about some weird word, integrity or.
Nutty, what did I say? Come on, man. Hey, go ahead, Nutty.
Bro, what's the word you brought up first? You did not bring up offer and acceptance. You brought up.
I'm trying to flow with you. You brought up counters. You got a countersuit. Let's talk about the power of that, because
I did not bring that shit up, man. I brought up meeting of the minds.
Oh, this nigga. Naughty.
See, that's the only thing I disagree with you, Aton. You go to left field a little bit, brother, but it's nothing bad. Just I brought up meeting of the minds, brother.
I'm left-handed.
Bet you won't pull that up.
I'm left-handed. This is what we're about to pull up. If you look at the screen, what does it say at the bottom? Offer and acceptance. Number one, offer, acceptance, meeting of the minds. Did I not bring that up? I brought it up. You must be driving or something. You moving around or something. You probably got the phone in your back pocket.
Both parties must understand and agree to the core terms.
Exactly. And look,
meeting of the minds, and I'm the only person on YouTube that ever talks about this.
Until I showed up, because obviously you saying Nutty ain't never talked about this. But hey, check this out.
I did not say that. I said me and Nutty be on my channel talking about this. That's the way I should have said it.
Okay, cool. So if you see at the top, it says a valid contract requires a mutual binding agreement informed by an offer, acceptance, and an exchange of value consideration. Now, you telling me when the police pull you over, he's actually exchanging something of value? Or like I said, in my example,
what does inquiry?
I'm gonna land my plane. Let me land.
Oh, my fault. I thought you was done. I can't really hear because it's loud. Please don't think I'm disrespecting you, Aton. My fault.
I ain't worried about it. Friendly argument. Look,
It says an exchange of value. Now, and that's consideration. And it says between competent, consenting parties for a legal purpose. Now, when I was giving my examples, I said, since I know what I'm doing, and Nadia and Taz heard me, and the chat heard me, if I know what I was doing, and they pulled me over, and they said, hey, and I inquired, and they inquiring, okay, well, let's see what we got going on. If I know I signed this ticket and my endorsement is being done a certain way, and they can actually monetize off that, which they do from what I heard, then I know I can get something out of it. If I know this is just a civil thing and this is all contractual and commercial in nature, shit, why not be a part of it? I'm taking out all the aspect of the fear, and I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to get beat over the head if I know how to conduct myself properly. That's what I'm talking about. But not if you're there. Come off mute, please.
Yeah.
Now, what is the power of a counter suit? And the second question is, what other name could it go by? If you know. Based on root word, you don't know shit.
Based on root words, I don't know shit.
Yeah, you a student, you taught him everything, you still don't know shit. That's how he be talking. I don't know. Maybe I'm hearing wrong. Get the wax out of my ear. Go ahead, bro.
All right, my brother. Like when I first came up here, now I came into the wrong conversation because I wasn't listening that long, and it was loud at my job where I was at. So I just thought y'all was talking about getting pulled over. But I'm still on the right thing because when you get pulled over, it's a contract, and it says it right there. It's a contract, and the first thing you're dealing with a contract is meeting of the minds. It's not that inquiry like you said. So since you said that I don't know. As soon as you pulled up something, it got meeting of the minds in there. It don't got shit about an inquiry. And I digress, brother.
I ain't saying nothing because they gonna say something else. Go ahead, Nadia. You got the floor.
All right, so counterclaim, cross action, what could be another one? A cross claim, which would be as in countersuit.
Okay, so now the power. I like cross claim and I like counterclaim. Let's deal with those two.
The power actually put the one who's making the original protest or
Claim.
the prosecuting or the offendant, it puts them in double jeopardy. No, not only they can lose the case by their claim not being verified, by facts not being acquitted with their testimony or their claim, but as well as put them in debt for making such falsifying of claim.
All courts must have facts, period, is all about.
So that would be the privy to having a countersuit, counterclaim, cross claim, cross action, however you want to stipulate those, the definition or defining the term. I
Why
think
can't you keep
that's
it
something
real,
I didn't
Aton?
learn.
My fault, Nadi. Nadi, tell him that it's gonna be hard for somebody in this conscious community to deal with me and you. Cause we might not get along on a lot of shit, but can't nobody say we didn't study this shit for years on my channel, bro. Nadi, he really said, like, I came in and I was wrong. Because I didn't hear the whole conversation, but I understand all contracts, whether they are, whatever they are. It's not dealing with an inquiry. I said that's I didn't want to say Anton, that's bullshit. I'm just trying to say I've never heard of that. I'll say it like that. I said it's dealing with meeting of the minds. Nadi, I didn't pull this shit up. He pulled this shit up and it has nothing to do with inquiries. It got meeting of the minds written all over it. And he's telling me I'm wrong and trying to take over the lesson, but I'm showing him that I'm showing him he's wrong. Showing it to him through his information. And I digress.
Go ahead, Nadia. I ain't saying nothing. Go ahead. He's saying that. Go ahead. I'm looking something up right now. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Taz. I ain't saying nothing. Go ahead, Taz.
No, I'm just listening, brother. It's a lovely show, bro. Cause I'm just
All
listening to
right.
everybody.
All right. So look, let's get to it, right? So we're gonna go right here. So let's break this down, y'all. Now, in any situation, if this is not here, consideration, that's an exchange of value. Now, if what I'm receiving has value, I need to be disclosed of that. If I'm not disclosed of the value or anything of any interest or beneficial interest or authority or power of any type of agreement that I'm getting into, disclosure is not there. So there's no meeting of the minds. Nowhere in existence.
Aton, this is why I had to take a break from the community.
Man, say what you got to
It's
say.
just
I
that
don't
no,
want to hear no
let me
preambles.
say it one more time, Aton. I'm
I
not
don't want
being
to hear no
mean. It's
preambles. Say what you got to say.
I'm not gonna be mean. It's just that, bro, I came in and said plainly, there's no such thing as an inquiry on this shit. And you still haven't pulled up inquiry, and you ran from the word inquiry. So
We're
that's
going to get
telling
to
me that
that.
you don't know what you're talking about. I
We're
plainly
going
came in and said,
to
this is dealing with, I'm gonna land my plane. I said,
we're
this
gonna
is
get to
dealing with
that.
meeting of the minds. The first information you pulled up is dealing with meeting of the minds, not that inquiry shit you're talking about. And I digress.
Okay, no. That's what you're focused on. What I'm showing you is it's more than that. It is mutual and it's binding on both parties because both parties are exchanging something of value. Now, if I'm the only one exchanging value here through my signature and through my acceptance, or I'm endorsing everything and all my information is on there, what value and what thing of value and consideration are they giving me? Can you answer that question?
Yes, I certainly can answer that question.
Okay, and it shouldn't take long.
It shouldn't take long. Everything you're saying is buffoonery, and you don't know what you're talking about because you can't pull it up. Everything you pulling up is going to agree with me and Nadi. Everything that you say, what you pull up is not going to agree with. You cannot pull up.
Mic check. Where you go? Probably broke up. All right, look. To anybody listening, anybody that got ears and eyes, obviously his ears, well, his eyes ain't working, and his ears ain't working either. Mutual and binding between competent, consenting parties for a legal purpose. We ain't gonna deal with I'm not dealing with the police. Let's deal with mortgages. I'm on mortgages. That's the big bad wolf. Let's deal with the mortgages. Do you see a signature outside of yours on any of these documents? Any of them? Security deed, deed of trust, depending on what state you're in, any of those applications, notes, or promissory notes, anything on those things you see anybody's signature but yours and a notary's. The only other thing you'll see somebody that's a signature is that one that owned that house that actually granted it over to you. Now, the other thing you don't know, and make a mental note of this, Nadi and Taz and Root Word, if you're listening to anybody else, let me whisper this to you guys. Make sure you accept the deed. Should be 2 signatures on that grand deed, not 1. You accept it under your free will. Okay? So if you got a house, you got a grand deed, first of all, see if you got the original. 2, if you don't, you need to see where it went. Go get a certified copy. If you don't have it, then you need to find out who does. And if they don't, create you another one. Under the circumstances, correcting status, correcting records. Okay. Okay. Now, if you want to deal with this whole situation of what we have going on, this is about as simple as you can make it in regards to remedy. There's levels to this till you want to get to the big dogs, the big dogs. We're talking about your land patents and everything, yada, yada, yada. That's a whole nother level. But if you stretch your mind and your imagination a little bit, even if you get pulled over by the police on a situation, they're still trying to contract with you. Rootword just mentioned that. He said that. So he knows it's a contract. But what he's not saying is that it's a unilateral contract and it's really under threat, duress, and coercion. So if it's just one signature, it becomes unilateral and it becomes a promissory note. It's a promise to pay. Anybody disagree? Anybody disagree? What'd you do? Fall off? I'm looking at the thing. So, okay. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, all right, brother, keep your thought, man. I just want to say that I appreciate you saying that what we're talking about today, at this point in particular, you know, status and all that. We're not talking about driving. We're not doing none of that. So those who want to talk about that, we're in a different status right at this point. So bless, bro. Keep it going.
Well, under the circumstances, you know, it's kind of like driving while black. You know what I'm saying? So whether you got your status done or not, what they doing is they going off looks. They profiling all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm from California. We know how it function out here. They straight profiling. They don't care what you look like. They don't care how much money you got. They're gonna put you on your back. And they really get mad when you driving something nice. That nigga on that nag phone. But under the circumstances, though, Taz, it's like this. It's all contract. Right? It's all contract. So it definitely it matters. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to spend any more time. That's why I'm trying to deflect a little bit so we could deal with these mechanics here. Because like I said, you know, that's why I went to Nadi. Is like, if we're just going to say something, you got to be able to solidify that and know what it's about. What is the power of a counterclaim? Let me say it in my way. And I'm going to say it, and I agree. I'm going to say it this way. A counterclaim levels the playing field. That's why you could do what Nadi was saying. It actually holds their feet to the fire. Holds their feet to the fire, and they could be held in double jeopardy. Because the bottom line is the only one that could bring a claim is the real party in interest. Rule 17. So that is the thing about a counterclaim. A countersuit levels the playing field. You now become the counter cross claimant. And I like to use the word plaintiff versus plaintiff. And the other one becomes a cross respondent or defendant. Once you do that, you have a level playing field. Now I become a real party in interest because I'm letting the court know I got a real party in interest because I look at it from this perspective. You see? So all these things are very, very, very important and necessary. You see what I'm saying? But I mean, in terms of a remedy, let's say you don't have nothing, okay? Just say nobody's got nothing done. They just regular Joe Blow. You know, they think United States citizen, whatever. They under all these different things. What you hang your hat on is equal protection. I mean, you know you're an Indian, but you don't know too much. You just work, you know what I'm saying? You still got all the things that are subject to you and everything and put you in the situation. You still got driver's license and all these different things. All right. So just roll with me on this one for a minute. Even under those situations, you still have a common sense mind. And you can still ask those questions. I mean, you can ask those questions. You can get some clarity. And they still have to read you these rights, give you full disclosure of what the nature of the cause is. And at the same time, still under any circumstances, they have to prove that there is an injured party. Now let's just say let's go from mortgage and then we'll go to court. Okay, so in a mortgage, you read the contract. You say, hey, I'm gonna take this home. I'm gonna look this over. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at anything in there that puts me under any type of involuntary servitude and peonage. And the next thing I'm gonna do is anything that's going to indemnify them and make me liable for their taxes and their debt. Number three, I'm pulling everything because they have covenants in there. They have language in there that talks about beneficial interest, that you're a third-party beneficiary in this matter. And knowing that the deed of trust or the security deed has a trustor, trustee, and a beneficiary. Now, I'm gonna get back to that in a minute. But under the circumstances, I would lock in on that. So I would draw a line, right? This is what we're talking about. Counterclaim. What Nadi mentioned, counterclaim. Or what we'll say in contract law is called a counteroffer. So under the counteroffer, it levels the playing field. And it holds them to a double jeopardy standard, because if I come with a counteroffer and they reject that offer, guess what? Oh, they got a problem. Wait a minute. All I'm doing is making sure I'm reserving my rights and we're on an equal playing field here, that we both, right, as this says, we have a mutual binding agreement and there is equal exchange of value or consideration being done. And I want to make sure that I'm competent of everything, and we're both consenting parties. And we both have obligations. Not just me. You're not putting all the obligations on me. You're going to have some obligations as well. And what is that to be? And that is to service this loan, have full disclosure, and be competent in what you're doing. Making sure that everything I'm doing is to my benefit and nothing that is putting me in any type of indenture or any type of voluntary or involuntary servitude per 1990. What is it? 1993. 1994, 1993, Title 42 USC, right? So on the other end of the spectrum, what is the full disclosures here, right? I know I have a right to privacy. Is any of this information I'm giving you going to be distributed and shared with out into the atmosphere? Because I don't want to do that. Because basically, I've been instructed by the Social Security Administration, it says on my card, that I'm not supposed to give this number out to anybody. And it's private. And they say when they ask for it to come back to them, I got to give it back to them. So that means it really doesn't belong to me. So you got to give me full disclosure on what we got jumping off here. So with that being said, I say, look, once you get those things organized, then you'll have better remedy. Now, it's the same thing in dealing with coming to court. I'm just a regular Joe Blow. I ain't got all this information, but I do know my rights and I know everything. And they say, well, you know what you've been charged with? No. But you don't know.
Hey, Tom.
Let me finish. It's entertainment purposes, bro. Entertainment purpose. Now, can you read and certify these charges for me so I know exactly what I'm getting into? Judge might say no. Or what do you mean? Well, I need somebody. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. Why am I here? I mean, they got to give you full disclosure on why you are there. This is nothing outside of anything or trying to avoid anything. All you're doing is asking a question. What is the harm in that?
They don't listen to you when you ask questions like that. They don't have to listen to you because it's called an argument, and arguments are not facts. They don't listen to nothing but facts, Aton. There's only two ways to present facts in a courtroom, and I digress.
All right. That's true. But let me ask this question here.
Aton, this ain't the question the smart cause the people don't know our though. I'm not being rude. It plainly says up there on what you pulled up that you don't know what you're talking about, and I do. Because it said on that paper, it says up there, the first thing first is meeting of the minds. If you don't understand that, I don't think a person should be allowed to talk these suits that these people in America, which is called the government and all these GMOs and all these GNOs and all that stuff, they bring up on us all the time. And if we understand that they're all suits and we can rebut them and rebuke them and countersuit them, we'll be good. And I digress.
All right. So a counteroffer is a powerful legal tool that simultaneously acts as a rejection of the original offer and the creation of a new proposal. This dynamic fundamental shifts.
Hey, Tom, why aren't you bringing up Black's Law Dictionary, bro?
Man, because I don't feel it, man. This thing, I jumping around and all this sharing shit, man. I'm cool right now. We deal with some basics. We ain't got to do the extras right now. We're going to get real deep pretty soon. I'm setting a stage. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to let the people know that I'm going to be consistent. So when you come over here, this is what you're getting. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to share with you something. You use it or you don't use it. I ain't going to be jumping around this thing with all this crazy stuff. Now I'm about to do that. We're going to get to the remedy.
Hey, Tom, can you please show
Repair
us,
and
will
restore.
you please show us
Repair
inquiry?
and restore. Repair and restore.
Why are you running from the inquiry stuff you brought up? And I brought up the meeting of the minds, but
I'ma
everything
get
you
to
show
it,
shows meeting of the minds.
Look,
None of it shows about the inquiry. So that
I'm
proves that you're
dealing with
wrong
it.
and don't know what you're talking about, Aton.
Look, I'm dealing with what you're talking, what you came up with, the meeting of the minds. What is it?
I
What is
know, and you don't talk about it.
contract?
You read.
We're
Aton, you
going
kicked it
out.
off
We're
the
going
show.
through it,
You
bro.
got jealous because I was writing you wrong. You was jealous, bro. That's what you did. You seen it said meeting of the minds. That's why I keep going there. Everything you pull up says meeting of the minds. It don't say nothing about what you're talking about. Do you understand what that means? It means you don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Cool. Can I finish reading this? All right. So this dynamic fundamentally shifts the power of acceptance between parties. Power of acceptance. Core legal effects. Termination of original offer. Making a counter offer immediately and completely voids the initial offer. Once you counter, the original offer is dead and cannot be accepted later unless the offerer chooses to revive it. Role reversal. The original offeree, the person who received the offer, becomes the new offerer. This is what Nadi's talking about, okay? The person who sent the first offer now holds the power to accept, reject, or counter again. Mirror image rule. Okay, here we go. Mirror image rule. New term. Didn't know about this. Under common law, any modification to an offer is treated as a counteroffer. Acceptance must match the offer exactly. If it doesn't, it's legally a rejection. Okay? Now, revocation is one thing. You can generally withdraw your counteroffer at any time before other party communicates their acceptance. Alternative responses. To avoid killing an offer you might still want, you can make a mere inquiry. Would you consider a lower price instead of a formal counteroffer? This is what I'm talking about. An inquiry is asking questions, young man. I didn't do this on purpose. It just came to me. I didn't do this on purpose. Come on, Ruber. What you got to say? Because now we're going to get into inquiry. All right? Let's get into inquiry. What is the essence of inquiry? Let's ask. Yeah, I figure he might come back. Look at that. Boy, he's a nut. He is a nut. Anyway. See, you don't have that slot in you. You don't know how to flow. All right. Listen. All right. In contract law, the essence of an inquiry or mere inquiry is its neutrality. Is its neutrality. In other words, a non-combatant, non-adversarial. Unlike a counteroffer, an inquiry does not reject the original proposal. It functions as a request for information or a probe into the offerer's flexibility without legal consequence to the standing offer. So you see, if you get pulled over under these circumstances, we're just going to take a quick over to pulling over because those are usually under some duressful situations. If you inquire, right, so you ask them what's the nature of your inquiry because they're coming asking questions. What's your name? You have license? They're inquiring all of that. Now, if I come back and I inquire myself, because they really haven't made me an offer yet. All they're asking me is, what do I have? In order for them to make their next move. But technically, if you look at it, they really aren't making too much an offer. They're more, if it is an offer, it's an offer you can't refuse. So this is what inquiry is about. It's neutrality. It's to stay neutral. You're not saying you're this. You're not saying you're that. Oh, you're trying to figure out what we got going on right here. That right there keeps you safe. That's power. Now, legal characteristics, preservation of the offer. The original offer remains live and can still be accepted even after an inquiry is made. No rejection, because it lacks the intent to reject. It does not trigger the mirror image rule that would otherwise kill the offer. Informational purpose. It is used to clarify terms, request better conditions, or explore possibilities. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what else you need? What else? I mean, I'm just saying. See, Draco, he just wanna argue. That's all he want to do. He just want to argue. He's not really looking at the mechanics. He bring up a good point. I roll with the point and expand on it, and he still try to cut me off. I'm not trying to debunk you. I want to give it clarity. We just can't say things and just say it's that. No, don't work like that. Now, under the circumstances, let me get back over here. That was actually a pretty good segment right there, bro. I don't know why you just bounced on me. That was a pretty good segment. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That was a pretty good segment. Okay. Allodial title and land patents. Now you see it says allodial titles and land patents. Okay. Let's get down to what is a land patent for those who don't know. Okay, let's get this information out real quick. We're just going to jump around. And okay, so it says, we the people have the unalienable right in a free republic of American nationals and or sovereign state citizens to acquire, utilize, and own property. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Now, I want you guys to understand this right here. Property tax attaches to the equitable title and interest in the property and real estate through a hidden federal lien. If the property and real estate is recorded with a deed, i.e. trust deed, warranty deed, quitclaim deed, at the county recorder's office, then it's trust property executed and managed by the legal owners. The county, state, and federal United States government corporation and its principals / creditors. Now, this is your fundamental thing when you're recording things in the county recorder's office, right? Because they're going to give you a transfer of title and all that stuff is dealing with taxes. So you need to learn your exemptions. Thus, they are the legal owners of the recorded property and real estate, and they can require you, i.e. the tenant, to get building permits, by zoning restrictions, and other statutory regulations, including environmental laws, because it's not your property or real estate. Most Americans are simply glorified tenants on what they erroneously believe is their property and real estate. Now, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that. We're not tenants. The people are not tenants. What you've done is you actually given the county, the state, and the federal government tenements, right? Tenements. And that is a form of tenancy as well. Okay. So when I pulled up this right here, this donor situation right here, it says he who gives lands or tenements to another entail. Now, when you look up tenements is like you give them a structure or something. You build structure on the land that they can live, right? Because they're actually the one exercising or laboring for you in any form of fashion, figuratively or literally, either being done in some form of fashion, but they are working for you, the donor, or the grantor, settlor, trustor, bailor, any of the ors who creates the trust. So that's the fundamentals on that. Where'd it go? Where did it go? There we go. The original letters of patent were from the King of England. There is a record of these land patents in the state archives and county courthouses. Under English land law, all realty, i.e. real estate, was owned by the sovereign, and from the crown all titles flow. Now, if they're talking about this, they're talking about who? Those 13 colonies. Now, I haven't really seen any land patents anywhere that
they're around. They are around.
I haven't
You just don't recognize them. This is what zoning is. When a city zones an area and they assign a PIN code to the property, AIN code to the property. This is what makes it under patent by the United States.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going to my little live part where I got my live. I'm just checking on this side. Appreciate everybody coming through. OTK came through. Sunshine, appreciate you. Appreciate you. Oh, my bad. I'm going to the wrong little thingamajig. Yep. Appreciate you guys coming through. American Isness came through. Copper Draco. All right, say what's up to you. 3-time indigenous Israelite, aka Nate. What's going on? Superman came through. Smash on Idol. So Smash. Who else did I miss? Richie Rich came through. Young partner right there. Everybody else, yeah, appreciate y'all hitting that like button, you know. So that's cool. Appreciate it. Repost it on your channel. Just get it out there. All right, so let's get back to it. Okay, well, yeah, I definitely didn't know that. I've been trying to find those things located. So that's another conversation we're gonna have another time about these land patents. I got questions about those. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some of this stuff. Yeah, I thought this was something different, but this is like somebody giving their opinion. So, did I have anything else on this? Nope, 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 nope. So yeah, so basically under those circumstances, what we have right there is just talking about that. Now we're gonna get into land patents. So we're gonna figure out these land patents, who these people were that owned the land patents, what land patents were different than the land patents that were ran by the Crown. Where were these located at? And what did the Crown have to do with it? I think that'd be good. Now, I'm gonna give you guys. Yep. You can get that. Yep. None of your business. Yep. You get them from there. Well, I want to see what these land patents have to do with any indigenous people and any people that might have had to get the land patent, being that they decided to transfer over to the United States, transfer over their thing to the United States. Is that why the land patents was there? So big dog. So yeah. That's going to be another issue right there that needs to be dealt with. Now, under the circumstances on remedy, being that you get under a different status, I mean, what is the proper? This is my question. What is the proper venue to get that remedy? Because if you're talking about land patents, so on and so forth, right? This is something that needs to be kind of looked at. If you're going to get remedy, you got to be in the proper jurisdiction. You got to be in the proper jurisdiction. I thought I just had some up here on courts of chancery. You familiar with them chancery courts? And I'm trying to figure these things. Boy. Man, where'd that thing go? I'm trying to find this one thing right here. All right. I'm about to show you guys something. Now, you see right here, I said Chancery Court and land patents. Is this the jurisdiction? Hold on, back up. Okay, so it says yes. A Chancery Court can have jurisdiction over matters regarding land, particularly in states that still maintain courts of equity, such as Delaware, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Nadi, you there?
A little bit. Yep.
Why are they in these three locations? Why are they? I don't know. I don't know if you know. I'm just asking. I mean, this is a question. It's like, why would it be in these three? We know Delaware,
That's
that's
Court
where
of
people
Equity.
file their, huh?
Court of Equities. That's
Yeah.
gonna be that's that secret court. Our courts is Court of Equity when it's dealing with probate. Remember that secret court I was telling you the other day? Come on, man. Oh. And it's located in DC, and all courts, all states are using it to take over your estate
Ah,
by assigning you a public defender to be the power of attorney of your estate. They're going through probate court to do that without you being there. That's the Court of Equity. The reason it's being called Court of Equity in those states most likely will be because they're Commonwealth or identified as why's the belly so full? It's another word. It's another word. I think of it in a minute.
and I pulled these notes that I've written down, but let's go forward with this. However, it is crucial to distinguish between the two different types of patents when determining jurisdiction. Land patents, property, real estate law. Initial permanent conveyance of title from the federal government or state to a private individual. All right, so here we go. So land patents are given from the federal government to a private individual. So how is that? Now, people think land patents are something that their family owned and
Eating salad. No, that's land patent is going to be what is in representation of the estate in property format. So, you remember back in the day, there used to be a show called Dallas with a dude named JR.
Yep. Who shot dead? JR. Yep. I remember that.
That Dallas estate, that JR estate, or what was it, a Hastings estate or some shit? What was it called?
Something like that. Yep.
That was Patton. That was his estate. If you don't remember the show, people died on that estate, got fished out of the river, out of his lake and everything. And the fucking police couldn't do anything to them because it was on the estate.
Right.
The Ponderosa. Go back even into a Western time when you see the Ponderosa. This is going to be in representation of an estate where no other can govern the law of that estate's land.
Or the movie Grits. That's a real good one.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that one either yet. Okay. All right, we're getting somewhere. All right, so
and you see the power of those people that claim their land and has their land under their state identification working out of their family office and also have their land in patent, their sovereign government.
okay. All right, so jurisdiction, chancery courts, courts of equity, handle matters related to the redemption of land, disputes over title, and equitable interest in property. So how can somebody in Florida, if you pretty much only have a few places where there's a chancery court in Cook County in Chicago, those 3 places have chancery courts. How can you get a real court of equity if chancery courts are really the only courts of equity? Because you're talking about title disputes, so that's like a quiet title action. These are quiet title actions, equitable type of issues that's dealing with land.
Yeah.
So, okay, last thing. So let's just say, let's say the Superior Court of California, whatever county, you go in there for a quiet title action dealing with land. They should be able to hear that, or they can't hear that. You see what I'm saying? So it falls under. So every time that it's happening, it's falling up under administrative type of. You see what I'm saying? Even when you invoke it, they try to change it up into an administrative process.
But the individuals that's going in front of them.
Oh shit! I just answered my own damn question.
Right.
So
They're not under this, they're not in their own essence of under their estate. They under the jurisdiction that's already been claimed by the state.
So figuratively speaking, then, if you're gonna do a quiet title action, shit, you got to bring everybody to the damn party.
A request for them all to be attendees.
I mean, you got to bring the county, the state, federal, everybody got to come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they have a claim on the line.
They got a claim on the land. I'll be damned. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Most land
it's all about that estate, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Most land patent records for government to individual transfers are handled through the Bureau of Land Management. Yeah, that's what none of your business was saying. Okay. Those land patent records for government to individual transfers are handled through the Bureau of Land Management. Okay.
Yeah, that's who you're gonna do your land patent through.
Okay, so
a natural land patent, not a coordinates land patent. For it to be under your estate and separated up from the zoning, it can't be used as a latitude and longitude identification. It needs to be identified as a natural landmark.
Right.
That's how you get a private representation of a land patent, not by King's writ.
Right. So you're not talking about meets and bounds. No meets and bounds. Is that what you say?
Yep.
Right. So it's like, like how you say when you go to the South, like what my mom always say when she telling you something, that place right when you get to that place on the corner, you're gonna see this right here. And then when you get to that right there, you hook a right, or you say you go north or you go east, and then you'll see
the big willow tree.
Yeah, you see the big,
with all the moss on it.
Yeah, that part. You say, then you know you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, very good. All right, so summary of chancery jurisdiction. So now we're getting somewhere. So dealing with equity, fairness, rather than strict legal technicalities. See, there's your administrative things. Often handling cases involving real estate, which is specific performance of land contracts, dispute over title, and redemption of land. See, it's not dealing with property, real property, none of that. Land. You cannot use these terms. These terms put you in a different jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
So
Real estate and property put you in the under that style manual.
right.
And then you're moving at fraud because you really got permission from the creator of the style manual or the ones who holding trademark under that style manual identification or definition. You never got permission to use it. So you're actually operating in fraud. Even when you're in court and people try to use a lot of case studies, different cases. If you don't go and write to the bar association and ask the bar association if you can use this representation of any of these cases, you could actually get kicked out of court and held in contempt for fraud because you never asked permission to replicate or exemplify case studies that has um, trademark to it or yeah, trademark to it. The way you can get away with it, a lot of people get away with it, is afflicting notification of the creator of it. It might be like case of vote versus Wade, 19 so and so, and under Judge so and so. Now you giving clarification on where you getting this information from. You're not just using it. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so all right, cool. I'm gonna leave that there. Okay, so trust in the states, administration of wills, trust, and fiduciary duties. So let's say, for an example, if the county, let's say the county, the state, you paying property taxes, they have some form of tenements or some tenancy on your land or some encumbrance or lien. The federal government, because they fund them, the state as well, because they're actually funded, they work in unison because it's considered to be in their territory. Then the fiduciary duties are there in place. We need to see if there's anything connecting that with any type of interest or what position that they carry in regards to these property tax, these liens. I pay you, you make sure you come pick up my garbage. If there's any type of fire, you come over there, you put the fire out. If anybody's injured or anything of that nature, is the other things, you come over there, you got your SMUD, you got your PG&E or whatever you might be, whatever it is, with your utilities. The water runs up under there. We got to run our faucets, so on and so forth. So is that a mandatory thing, or is that a trust relationship that was just set up? You pay us, we do this. You don't have to.
It's mandatory because remember the property is already patented by the zonage of the corporation, the incorporated town or the incorporated city or the incorporated state. It's already zoned out and identified by way of number or number in letter added in, or zoning, zip code zoning and or zip code zoning. So when you go and actually think you're owning a property, you're not really owning it.
I know, but I
You're
do have,
just
but I do have beneficial interest in it, right?
Your beneficial interest is the accessibility you can use to create whatever you need to create on it while it's in your possession.
Exactly. So I'm a steward of the land. Let's just look up fee simple. Let's just pull fee simple up real quick.
Okay. I know a lot of times we get in layman terms to try to explain certain things, but the more we stay out of the norm in our conversations, we don't have to worry about too much riffraff coming around because when you're dealing in properties and things, a lot of people don't do them type of studies. You understand? So you don't have too much of a fight when you narrative the conversation in this type of format.
Right. But they're welcome.
Yeah, they're welcome, but they still would be lost. They wouldn't know where to go, what to say.
Okay, so fee simple is the highest and most complete form of land ownership recognized under U.S. law, granting the owner a bundle of rights that last indefinitely. So, in a fee simple estate, specifically fee simple absolute, the owner holds the maximum legal interest in the property. Alienation, meaning the absolute right to sell, gift, or lease the property at any time. Divisibility, the right to pass the property to heirs through a will or trust. Possession and use, the right to occupy the land and use it for any legal purpose, including making improvements or even destroying existing structures. The exclusion, the authority to prevent others from entering or using the property without permission. Government authority over fee simple land. Even though fee simple is the highest form, it is never absolute in the sense of being above the law. In incorporated areas, lands under government controlled jurisdiction, the government retains 4 specific powers, often remembered by the acronym PEAT: police power, eminent domain, taxation, it's cheap. When an owner dies without a will, it has no legal heirs. The property ownership reverts to the state to prevent it from becoming ownerless. And then they asked me a question. See, and they just asked me that question. They went straight to private residential property or tribal trust land. See, that's what I'm saying. They gave me tribal trust land. I wasn't even asking for it.
Yeah, they try to guide you into something a little bit more outside of the peak situation.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. But when you talk about fee simple, like this, the data engine don't have any choice but to go to tribal trust land. See what I'm saying?
But see, they still give you the like the supreme power in under their zoning. When you go and deal with tribal and trust, it's taking it out of the domestic attribute and putting it in a sovereign governing um direct control.
Right. Now, none of your business. Yeah, we are. But we got to understand these terms. And you know that we just can't go claim something and we don't know how to make the claim proper. We got to understand the differences between some of these things and how they apply. I mean, we really got to know land patents. How were they created? How were they discussed? Do we have aboriginal title? Do we have title in fee simple? Do we have the right jurisdiction? Are we going to the Superior Court of California? Are we going to a chancery court? Or are we going to international court? Or we got to go straight to the Supreme Court? I mean, dealing with land is a whole different beast than just dealing with some simple stuff. You know what I'm saying? You got to really know where you're going. And a lot of us, number one, don't really have the patience, time, or even mental fortitude to even focus on getting this done. So we're gonna slow walk this, Nanya. Hopefully you forgive me for that, but we're gonna slow walk this thing because we're still in the place of fee simple or majority debtor. Even if we reclaimed our status and everything, there's still debt out there. Your name is on a lot of different things and being moved around.
Yep.
So we gotta
that
deal with
social
all
security number. That social security number you don't access. That account is still open.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we got a big hill to climb on this thing. You got to be able to claim some of these things and make sure it's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed the thing on where Hillary Clinton was talking about he don't pay his taxes. He said, because I'm smart. He didn't even run from it. He said, I'm smart. You see what I'm saying? I know what to do. I know what not to do. You know, he said, I prepay my taxes. People don't even understand what prepaying taxes is, but a couple of things that I showed. And you guys tell me the only reason why I kind of go at this time, because this is kind of like my even time I could get this done and not really trip about my business and, you know, not really intersecting with the other lives. So under the circumstances, if you guys want me to go later, I can, but I can't go no earlier than 1. And you see, I tried to go at 1. I didn't even make that. I ended up getting, you know, being a whole 15, 20 minutes late on that. So, but yeah, what you mean by that, Nate? We need a school of reclaimers. Well, this is where it's going to get interesting because I have the fundamentals. Like the fundamentals is there. You know what I mean? The fundamentals, I got a cool little squad. I mean, we pretty much have the fundamentals on how to get this done. I mean, but what a lot of people need to do is they need to make sure that they have fully, you know, addressed, you know, all of the shadow paper and instruments out there, securities in your name, because it's a lot, and it's a lot of things that actually have been done, even with our forefathers and foremothers, that they got a lot on the table that just trickles down. And that's why, you know, the debt is so high. And on top of that, you know, that sovereign fund, I don't know if that applies, but that sovereign fund that they was talking about, that thing's in the hundreds of trillions, you know, so, hey. But yeah, we're gonna end it off on that one. We at the 4-hour mark, so we're gonna end it right there. I would like to keep going, but I'm going to reserve that because I like the way the topic went. You know what I'm saying? That was cool. So, all right, I hear from None of Your Business. I hear from Nate. I hear what y'all talking about. Well, so we gonna hammer it home. So just know that I'm gonna look out for me from 1 to 1:30. 1 to 2 o'clock. That's when I'm gonna go. I want to be. I'm not winging it. I have topics and things that I want to apply, but pretty soon it's going to be more structured and it's going to be precise, you know. But at this point in time, I want to go to these different places and just let the energy flow where it needs to go. And so far, we've been pretty much on point and been cool. So, make sure that you guys that come over here, make sure that the other chats that we deal with know, make sure your own personal followers that you have in other places that might be interested in what you're talking about, bring them over. Because this is what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to apply all the different things. Just have some patience. You're going to get the answers, but you're going to have to be able to apply them. You got to apply them. I mean, I can't, you know, it ain't gonna get done unless you want it to get done, you know, but, you know, I'll be able to assist you along the way. So under the circumstances, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this down. Nadi, as always.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Copy.
Yep. Yep. 3 to 4. 3 to 4. That's pretty much where I'm going to be at. 3 to 4, Nate. And that's where we at. What I would like, and I'm going to put my email in the chat. So you guys send me anything that you need, like links or whatever. I'm gonna put this one in. Yeah, I'm gonna put that one in. I just created this one, so this ain't gonna be flooded. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do right there. Put that one in there. Get your questions together, put something together, what you want me to talk about. Make sure it stays in the line of this. You know, we'll cover all this stuff. Everything that I did, that's why I'm showing all these different things. We're talking about history, we're talking about not religion, we're talking about biblical history, right? Everything's going to be in the form of education and history, biblical history, archaeology history, geographical history, American history, political history. Any type of thing is going to be dealing with history and how we can deal with it. All right, how we can make it fit us. All right, so under those circumstances, let's get the outro in. Let's get the outro in. Boom. I like this young brother. Dangerous.
They just wanna keep us asleep. I know this shit suck, but when the fuck will niggas wake up? I know this shit tough. Every other step you take, you get your foot stuck. Cause they go and show you the fly with some niggas pushed up. Religion is a part of the system, my nigga, listen. If you ain't got control of your soul, then you's a victim. The Pope all over the net with politicians. The same politicians who sleeping with little children. Time to make them pay for what they did to the youth. But freedom of speech is nothing when they censoring truth. You ain't gotta show shit when you live in the proof. Giving support to your oppressors, man, you niggas is goofs. Time to fight fire with fire, get on some nigga shit. Time to get back what they stole, all of our innocence. Some people hate the way that I talk, this shit be spicy. But say a bunch of shit that ain't true, it isn't likely. They try to say your vision ain't true, but with your sight see. The best way to tear you apart is through your psyche. I give it to you real, what you need me to say. Ask the world leaders about the oath they secretly take. It's a plan that they got to keep us legally slaves. Paid labor overwhelming when you needed a break. If you think that I'm just talking, then bitch, you lost. It's a war going on like rich versus poor. The rich keep getting rich while your broke ass starve. Feeding you little pennies at that punk ass job. Thinking cause you get it in tax, you need that income. Really, I'm just stating the facts cause niggas been dumb. Your emotions are controlled by a system. Cause when I make a song full of hate, niggas listen. When I make a song about love, niggas skip it. They both from the soul, so really ain't nothing different. Today you gotta give it a fight to make the hate stop. Niggas on that ignorant shit gon' get a face shot. Believe what you wanna believe. A lot of niggas snakes, only going off of belief. A lot of shit is fake with two cans blazing. I'm ready for damnation. So tell a slave master I'm burning the plantation. You fuck niggas like to throw pain but can't take it. So all during war these flames remain sacred. Barrel to the root of your tongue, you niggas tasteless. Lights flying over your head, it ain't a spaceship. The reason why we fully equipped was information. It led us on the path that got us out of the matrix. Unity is power beyond, we should embrace it. But you could never bathe in the truth when you were racist. Speeding off what you was taught, then the brakes slip. Then you see it's nothing you thought, that shit is dangerous. A lot of people died for what? That shit was aimless. It's kinda like a video game, it took stages. Just make sure these lanes remain nameless. Hood Politics Part 2, my name Dangerous. I'm the coach, quotes coded in oak with a ghost loaded focus. Chrome in the coat, king with the cloak, smoking that hocus pocus. Infinite styles, pivot and pile up the mileage. I'm wild with the science. You see the line on my avatar, iron jaw pride. I to devour the silence. Why you niggas steady lying? Got me laughing hard, satire and fraud. I fire the squad. Wise get crossed when I'm sparring with all the guards. Author of art, carving a mark in the bark of the market at large. Target the sharks, heart of a Spartan. I sharpen the margin with bars. You rather bargain and dodge. I'd rather you come get your taxes done. Black suit, back room, facts in a stack. I'm relaxing the maximum. Get out of the pocket, the profit of rocket. Then I just might tax you punks. Bracket your funds, I'm stacking in chunks. Reacting to acid, you're begging a punch. Sometimes my community hard-headed, scarred, dreading the lessons. I chart head and start spreading the message embedded in pressure. Sovereign living, I'm private with it. No corporate percentage. Discharging debt with a pen stroke. You still don't notice the vision. I've been telling y'all you don't want to debate me. Weighty and ready. Great with machetes, linguistically shredding the petty. Grab these 15 acres. Landscape major, plan made paper. Land patent stamped and sacred since my campaign greater. I ain't talking about Ice-T when I say that I can show you law and order. Court recorder, I sort the torture, contort the border. I eat the case, beat the state, leave a trace of the raw supporter. Briefcase aura, got your baby mama thinking that I'm a lawyer. Seminole Indian sentiment, militant on sovereign soil. Private enrollment, tribal component. I'm the boss if you're trying to employ it.
Clocks, baby. Infinite. Stop.
Last one, and you know what that is. My boy King Chameleon. Gotta end it off on this. That fire.
Yeah, I can get your land back. Yeah, I can discharge your debt. You gotta live by 5 principles before we just connect. Cause you could pose as my friend and then really be the threat. Like Brutus be Julius to the dudes that killed Malcolm X. Get your hand out of my pocket! Get your hand out of my pocket, nigga! Get your hand out of my pocket! Get your hand out! Brother, please. Y'all think getting remedies important. We make your lawyers lose their indemnity insurance. King Chameleon, private, I don't wanna be popular. Grandpapa, hunk papa, mama black mafia. Yeah, we them big owners holding rank. You call Rocket lawyer, I call the owner of the bank. He in the private at the temple, like Ginobili in the paint. And we got 3 militaries, we might be rolling in some tanks. While you balancing with a check gross, going to work for debt notes. Overtime all your life paying mortgages, then you left broke. Damn. Shout out to Mayweather, who's obviously woke. He settled $18 million with a promissory note. I'm not your corporation's chattel, this world gotta be a joke. Blind leading the blind, so we never gonna see.
But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
Everybody fake woke while the president is asleep. So I introvert myself cause it's evident to me. No one saves us but us. Buddha said it in BC. No title deeds are just reference to evidence to me. Man, you don't own it, you a tenant and it says it on your deed. You said with a sign but didn't take the time to even read. There's gotta be an idiocracy. They call you crazy as Kanye just for thinking logically. 2 million nationals backing us to stop who ain't stopping me. For instance, when Columbus came over here, they admitted Native Americans was already there. But if our kids take a test on who discovered land we on, and you say Native Americans, you get the question wrong. What? Don't lie to us, you are just a colonist. Can't hide the truth, we got all the proof from the anthropologists. We know the system now, it's time to get up out of it. But it's our fault, because we fought so hard to be a part of it.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made. And they haven't even begun to pull a knife out, much less try and heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there.
All people trying to burn us, out and selling services with disclaimers, saying that it ain't for legal purposes. No cash, broke ass, internet burglars with temporary schemes and a lot of fraudulent dreams. Yeah, we got our own embassy, we got our own consulate, foreign administrations, and 3 armies on top of it. We live by 5 principles, but we'll die for this. Freedom back to the people, protect them from the apocalypse. I took that title that they gave me and I clouded it. That's what you say, that's the Cuban. I got a bond with this. My way of thinking pissed the military off. I ain't with their way of thinking, Roman military law. We coming peaceful outside the mosque and the cathedral, and we'll resort to violence. I gotta protect my people. They call us ghetto, they call us thugs. The only God they worship, guns, oil, and drugs. I'm on the block, Martin Luther King was shot, holding a gun that killed Kennedy, trying to find a remedy. You can't cancel me nor censor me with chancery and sensory, God-like energy to infinity. My actions are my testament. I got a lot of questioning. How Ben Frank was on 100 but was never president. You broke, you go to jail. You got money, you get right out. They lock you up for drugs, but they got coke in the White House.